Because, I mean, he was all right. He wasn't like a penguin who suddenly became ceramic.
There's literally no answer to that.
Calling all emos, computer programmers and blokes called Malcolm who still live with their mum.
Crikey, there must be more to life than this.
It's the revolutionary virtual human interface you can access without ever leaving your bedroom.
And what were you up to the other night? That's what I'd like to know.
How cool is that?
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. The Two Mikes, Parry and Graham on Talk Sport.
Look at the light!
You still got that tweet?
I've still got that tweet, yeah. I'll show it to you a bit
I'd
later
like to
if
see
you want
that,
it.
yeah.
So there's all of that to remind you about, okay?
Yeah. There's also Everton, West Brom to talk about, of course.
Well, that was a remarkable game. Everton had 34 shots, either on goal or towards goal.
They hit the post a couple of times, didn't they?
Compared to West Brom's one shot.
Yeah, but
okay,
you're not going to give me that. I mean, that's what Roberto Martinez said after the game. Well, you know, if you look at the statistics, you can't believe we didn't win the game.
No, you can't.
But like I've said to you many times, have I not?
Yeah.
Statistics do not a football match make.
Well, no, but it's remarkable. Everton 3-0 victories in the run to that one.
Doesn't matter.
West Brom should have been cannon fodder.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
With the greatest respect to my West Bromwich friends.
That's not being very respectful.
And yet we got nowhere. We got Bournemouth now in the Cup on Saturday.
Yes.
The game you and I are going to.
Yeah, thankfully, I've now been able to give you my assertion that I should be accompanying you there.
Oh, really?
Because, well, you finally gave me the date and you finally gave me the time.
Yeah, OK.
You know, last week.
But the biggest problem I've had over the weekend...
I've got a bit of a problem, actually. I'm not sure about how I'm going to get home.
Oh, well, don't worry about that. As long as we get there and go to the game. Well,
I don't want to be stranded down there.
Well, you know, it's not my
it's
problem,
a late
pal,
game.
it's yours.
It's a late game, right?
It's not that
you
late.
Might have to
5:15.
run me back. You might have to run me back up to London.
No, you're mad.
Why not?
No, I'll be staying at the family mansion in Bournemouth. You can make your own way back up to
Well,
London,
what if I have to
pal.
stay the night? Can I stay there?
No. There's a B&B somewhere near the station in
So
Bournemouth.
I can't stay at your sister's place?
Definitely not.
Why
no,
not?
No. You're a vagabond compared to the sort of people who are welcoming my sister's home.
Well, who else gets allowed to stay there then?
Well, only decent people, only people of our sort of
So
gender.
if I miss the last train,
Yeah.
in other words, I won't be welcome.
You're in the B&B round the corner. It's not a problem. 25 quid. I'll sort that for
I
you.
wouldn't
That's
stay
not
in
a
a
problem.
B&B. I'd prefer to stay in the bosom of my friend's family.
I can't see that happening, mate. But anyway, look, that's not the main issue. The main issue is this. I spent Saturday and Sunday down on the coast at my penthouse place, right?
Oh, yeah. We saw the picture with that hideous glass you showed.
Well, I don't know what your problem is with that glass. That glass came from Debenhams a year ago. So it's
you called it Royal Dalton.
Yeah, it was.
Dalton.
It was.
You sure you don't mean Royal Dalton?
Yeah, Doulton, of course.
Doul, which is China.
I didn't even say that.
But it's not glass.
I didn't say that. I said it was made in the potteries by a glass company. There are glass blowers, in the potteries. Potteries is 5 towns. 4 of them did China stuff. What was that called? Crockery. And one of them did glass blowing. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Well, it's still a hideous glass, though.
No, it's not.
It's like something you give your granny a bit of sherry
No,
in.
it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's a classic, cut glass, wine glass. So I don't know what your problem is. But the biggest problem was I was trying to find some of my mates from military intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
Because the biggest problem that has concerned me over the weekend, and is still concerning me, is the fact that a huge iceberg the size of Rome has...
size of Rome?
Size of Rome.
Really?
This iceberg is the size of Rome.
What, the papal part or the whole of it? The Vatican?
No, the size of Rome.
Blimey.
The size of Rome.
Right.
And this iceberg, which is known as B09B, right, it measures...
What?
It's B09B.
B09B?
Yeah, that's the code name it's been given by...
Code name?
By the Antarctic
What do you need a code
scientists.
name for an iceberg for?
You do. I'll tell you why.
Why don't you just call it that bloody great iceberg over there?
Well, it is. B09B, it measures 100 square metres, right? And that's 100 square kilometres, 100 square kilometres.
100 square kilometres?
Yes, that is...
So 10 kilometres by 10?
Yeah, that's the size of Rome. And
what about in cubic kilometres?
No, never mind that.
Well, because 7/8 of it are below the surface.
That's right. So the surface bit alone is 100 square kilometres.
So it's 10 kilometres square just above the surface.
Exactly.
So that would mean how much is below the surface then?
Well, another 7 times that is below the surface, OK?
Hey?
But anyway, let me tell you this. This iceberg, the size of Rome, was grounded in Commonwealth Bay... What's your problem?
I just love that iceberg the size of Rome. Why Rome?
It's grounded in Commonwealth Bay in East Antarctica. It's been there now since December 2010. It's cut off...
It's not moving fast then.
It's cut off the penguins' route to food. The penguins are having to make a 37-mile detour.
Well, isn't that what they do?
No, to get to the sea, to feed on fish, which
why don't they move closer to the sea?
They can't, because of the iceberg. It's 37 miles, and most of them...
once they've gone around it once, then they have to go around it again.
No, most of them
Why
die.
they have to go back?
Most of them die before they get around it. Can I tell you that
Don't
so
be
far...
ridiculous. That's what penguins do. They're
tell
trained
you,
to be on the ice.
Can I tell you that so far, I believe... My intelligence tells me 160,000 penguins have perished.
And why do you care about this?
I care about it because the whole flock of penguins is going to be wiped out.
Well, this is the global warming that you say isn't happening.
No, it's nothing to do with global warming.
What is it then?
This is an iceberg. It's not global warming. Icebergs regularly sort of break off the main Antarctic landmass.
But where did the iceberg come from?
It came from the main Antarctica landmass.
Right, and why did it break off from the main Antarctica landmass?
Because although there is no global warming per se,
it melted.
There is a fluctuation in the seasons which caused rifts in the ice. And this caused a rift in the ice.
No, it's nothing to do with a rift in the ice.
This caused a rift in the ice.
It's to do with the warming of the planet.
Now, what I want my friends at Military Intelligence to do is find out why we haven't yet sent a Royal Navy submarine with torpedoes to blow the iceberg up. Because the iceberg
that would be interfering with human nature, surely.
No, it wouldn't be interfering with human nature. At the moment, out of a flock of 160,000
also,
penguins...
don't you think there might be some collateral damage to the penguins?
No, not at all.
Firing torpedoes at their sort of general habitat.
No, these penguins are called the Adelie penguins, right?
Adelie?
Yeah, they're very fashionable sort of penguins, if you see what I mean.
Why?
And the problem is 150...
Are they in different colours or something?
No, they're just good penguins, they're class. And 150,000 of these penguins have died already. It is honestly, it is a national tragedy. It's an international tragedy.
Why?
It's a natural tragedy.
Natural.
It's an environmental tragedy. And nobody seems to...
by the way, Jamie Vardy's got a new Bentley.
I don't care about Jamie Vardy's Bentley. I care about these penguins.
Why?
All you care about material things like Bentleys.
All I care about is material things.
Listen,
I thought it was you that cared about material things.
Not only are these penguins dying, but they're not able to reproduce new penguins. The flock's down to 10,000.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of abandoned eggs. The ground littered with freeze-dried carcasses of chicks. And penguins freezing to death on the 30...
Freezing to death?
Yeah, on the 30...
Well, they live there.
No.
Why are they freezing to death?
Because they've got no food inside them. And that
they're
affects their coat.
They're not freezing to death, then, are they?
Yeah, they are. And it affects their ability to...
Surely they're dying of hunger.
Yeah, well, that's the same sort of thing, actually. It's the same sort of problem.
No.
And I'm telling you...
by the way.
Don't worry about the time, mate. When 150,000 penguins are at risk, don't worry about the time.
I am worried about it.
And we should either send a Royal Navy submarine...
Well, one, we haven't got enough Royal Navy submarines to send around the world on such a ridiculous task.
Royal Naval submarines are patrolling underneath those waters all the time. I know this from my naval intelligence contacts.
Well, then we haven't got to send one then if there's one already there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why don't we let off a torpedo and smash up this iceberg, which is killing all the penguins? Or alternatively...
Why don't you just send a big liner, piloted by somebody from White Star Lines, and you could just bang into the iceberg and maybe that would move it a little bit.
It would sink. The ship would sink. The iceberg is so big, the ship would sink. The other thing we could do is...
a replica Titanic next
year. The other thing is we could drop a missile on it from one of our T-45s.
What's a T-45?
T-45 is the world's most modern warship.
I've heard about
six of them.
P-45.
No. The world's most modern warship. One of those parked just off the Isle of Wight. No, actually, because it's Antarctica, it's in the southern hemisphere. One of those parked just off sort of Buenos Aires could easily lob a missile onto the...
You don't be firing any missiles near Buenos Aires.
Not really.
But I mean,
well, maybe the Americans could help, because these are not British penguins, after all. They're international penguins.
I don't think they can do anything in the middle of a presidential election.
Well, they should do something. No. Somebody's got to help these penguins. Now that
I don't understand why you get so worked up about it.
Well, because I don't like to think about penguins dying, do you?
Well, not particularly,
no. Exactly.
I don't like to think about people dying either. There's a lot of people dying around the world.
Yes, I know there are, but we're battling to try and stop that happening.
It's a very serious way to start the show.
I totally agree. We are battling to save people from dying. Of course we are, in all sorts of terrible situations and wars and refugee crises. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But this is easy to stop penguins dying.
Well, you say
all
that.
you've got to do is blow up the iceberg.
No, well, maybe
it's not beyond the wit of man to blow up an iceberg.
Well, just melt it.
What do you mean melt it, you idiot? How can you melt it?
You're blowing up an iceberg may be more difficult than you imagine.
It's not. It's easy.
Well, which bit of the iceberg, for example, would you fire the missile at?
At the underneath of it. And that
the underneath of it, which is what size?
It's 7 times bigger than that on the surface.
And the surface is 100 square kilometres.
Yes, that's right.
So underneath it must be 700 square kilometres.
Well, in a different sort of shape, if you see what I mean. Going downwards, not going across. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's still 700 square kilometres.
But you could still blow it up, couldn't you?
Have you ever seen the size of something that big? So it's 7 times the size of Rome. You think you can hit it with one missile and blow it up?
Yes,
really?
Yes, you could.
Really?
Yes, you could.
I don't think so.
It's ice, man.
I think you'd be better off with a load of hairdryers.
No, don't be ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, it's not beyond the wit of man to get rid of that iceberg.
You couldn't even solve the iceberg problem in your own freezer.
And that's... Oh, don't be ridiculous. This is completely different. This is a scientific challenge.
What you don't know about ice
I have no idea why we haven't risen to it. I say... No, I'm serious.
I say.
Porky says, save the penguin.
What about the rabbit you were going to save on Friday?
Well, I'm still working on that, but I got deflected by the penguin problem.
Okay.
Got deflected.
One campaign too many. Right. Well, there's plenty of campaigns to get stuck into. We're going to talk about Jamie Vardy's Bentley, maybe Jolyon Lescott's Mercedes.
What's wrong with having a Bentley, anyway?
Nothing wrong with having a Bentley.
No, what are you bringing it up for? That's not even an issue.
It's on the back pages of papers.
Yeah, so a picture of Jamie Vardy in his Bentley. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it.
Why are we talking about it?
Well, because he's a footballer and we talk about footballers on this show.
Perfectly normal for a footballer to have a Bentley.
Not just penguins. This is Talk Sport.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast.
That is creme de la creme, isn't it?
This morning from 6.
Take a new liver with you as well.
On Talk Sport.
In this hour, we're also going to be talking to a Russian security expert about what on earth has happened to this guy who was in charge of the doping for the entire sort of Russian national team.
What has happened to him?
Well, he died suddenly over the weekend. It seems a bit of unfortunate timing, to say the very least.
You know,
between now and the time we talk to Alexei Yaroshevsky, hopefully you might have been able to glean something from some of your contacts.
Maybe.
Now, somebody sent me, Bric-a-Brac has sent me the story about 150,000 penguins dying due to an iceberg.
Yes.
However,
you might be a bit of collateral damage and kill a few penguins, but it will then release the passage to the sea. They have to go on a 37-mile detour because the iceberg is blocking the direct route to the sea.
That's what penguins do.
But they don't go 37 miles, Mike. Believe me, I've studied penguin.
Have you ever watched any of those Attenborough programmes about penguins?
Yes, I have.
When you see that they protect their eggs and all the rest of it.
Yes.
But occasionally, sometimes their eggs get attacked by birds.
Yes, I know.
Sometimes birds absolutely, completely, and utterly destroy an entire generation of penguins.
Yes, I know. I've seen all that.
Well, I haven't heard you getting worked up about that.
Well, that is part of nature's cycle. That's what happens.
Is this.
It's not.
How is this not part of nature's cycle? If an iceberg breaks off the main part of the ice and forms itself into a movable feast, as it were, and then gets in the way of some penguins, surely how is that not part of the natural world?
Because believe me, it's not part of nature's cycle. It's an accidental happening, and that accidental happening is causing extreme misery to a whole colony of penguins. It's wiping them out.
It's part of the evolution of the Earth.
It's not evolution of the Earth. It's a mistake.
Survival of the fittest.
It's a mistake. Listen, put it this way, right?
Survival of the fittest.
Supposing you and I lived down a dirt road at the bottom of a valley. And every day...
I do live down a dirt road at the bottom of a valley.
Right, OK. So every day you leave your sort of wooden hut and you have to walk up the road a mile to the end of the valley where you are able to slaughter a sheep in a field full of sheep and then bring it back and have roast lamb every night, OK?
OK.
And on one day, you go up the dirt road up the valley and you find that a whole forest of trees has suddenly been blown down overnight and completely blocked the road completely.
Yeah.
And because it's a valley, the blockage is so high...
I'd ring the council.
The blockage, don't be ridiculous.
That's
the blockage,
what I do.
I'm talking about living somewhere in remote, Midwest America or something,
it's still a council.
And what happened, I'm talking about hundreds of years ago.
Oh, OK.
And all the trees are blown down, blocked your passage out of your dirt road towards the field full of sheep. You can't get any sheep.
Yeah.
You then starve to death because you can't get...
You go the other way.
No, there's no other way. There's no other way. You're in a valley that's
that's a ludicrous analogy.
No, it's not. What I'm
analogy.
saying is your route to your food source is completely cut off.
Well, what happens, for example, if you can't get a bus down to your local Tesco? You might as well say the same thing.
And then you have to take a 37-mile detour out of your valley to go get your sheep and carry it back. Now, you'd soon die doing that. That's what's happening to the penguins, and that's why I want a solution, and that's why I think the world should be involved.
But these things happen all the time. The world can't even solve the problem of what's going on in Syria, never mind sort out a bunch of penguins.
Well, that's a serious human problem, of course it is, and that's got to be looked at. What I'm saying is this one's very easy to solve. To solve. It's a very soluble problem.
Somebody sent a picture of what could be a giant hairdryer. You could send that.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's a great idea.
And how'd you get it there in the first place? Don't be.
Put it on the back of a ship.
Don't be mad.
How about this for a ridiculous idea?
Right.
Woodenhead says maybe old MG could put the Iceberg inside his giant glass of alcohol he has every weekend. Well, that's very funny, but I don't drink much with ice these days because it's a bit too cold.
Yeah, I agree with that. Put the Iceberg inside glass, yeah. And there's one here. Love for animals and nature is always heartwarming. True man of the people. Porky, he's talking about. He's talking about me, saying that my love for animals and nature is warming people's hearts.
It's a complete and utter smokescreen.
He
says, about the time you fired the old fire up the cat's jacksie?
I never did that.
You did?
I never did that.
Dude, you gave it an electric shock or something, didn't you?
No, I would never do that.
That used to come and visit you.
Oh, well, that's the cat from next door that was climbing over the wall. Well, I know I had to deter it, but I mean, I wasn't cruel to the cat at all. I mean,
you sent some kind of spark its way, didn't you?
It was a sort of miniature electric fence just to make sure that the cat didn't invade my territory.
Yeah, but what about the spraying of ammonia on the local trees to put the dogs off?
Yeah, but that is for the benefit of the human population.
You know how sensitive a dog's nasal passages are.
It didn't.
You care so much about animals, don't you? Right? You haven't even asked about my dog, not once. We've been on the show for 25 minutes.
It didn't hurt the dogs. Didn't hurt the dogs. All the dogs knew was not to... Yes, I did. I'm listening, but I'm trying to finish my point that you put to me.
Okay.
The only thing is the dogs knew not to go towards those trees...
after their nasal passages were blown away.
Because I'd sprayed ammonia on them, and that kept the street clean.
Animal lover.
Now, as for your dog, Ziggy, you didn't give much information out over the weekend about how poor Ziggy was. How's his cough gone?
His cough has got a lot better.
Right.
He's been on antibiotics since Thursday.
Right.
And it's now gone from being very sort of frequent
to
very rare. But he still has a bit of a cough.
Yes.
But he's a lot better. Took him for a walk today, and he was running around like a good one.
I'm very happy.
So he's fine.
I'm very happy to hear that. Did you read the story in one of the newspapers over the weekend about the owner who's taught his dog to read?
Yes, I did.
Right?
Yeah.
So why aren't you training your dog to read?
Well, I'm waiting for him to get better first.
Wait for him to get better, okay? Do you think it will happen?
Maybe he'll be able to read the get well soon card he gets from you.
Yeah,
you care so much about dogs.
Well, if you teach him to read...
Well, he hasn't had one yet.
If you teach him to read, I'll send him one.
He hasn't had one yet.
Now, do you think that this is...
We also didn't have a chance to do the three cup trick on him. Yes. We'll try and do that next week.
Well, if he's not well, you can do that next weekend. Yeah. Now, this dog is called Fernie. After 2 years at primary school, his impressive reading skills have seen him rise
magic we're doing
to the top of class. No, I'm just telling you, Fernie is not a pupil, he's a dog.
Yeah.
He's the school dog. He was brought in to encourage the children to enjoy reading by snuggling up with them at story time.
Yes.
The 2-year-old Labrador has learned to read himself as a result of being the school dog. So what a school dog does is he actually pads around
Where is this? What country is this happening in?
Oh, this is in our country.
Really?
This is.
I'm amazed that any school in this country is allowed to have a school dog.
Yeah, they are. Training for recognised words was surprisingly simple. Where is this now? It's a scheme called Dogs Helping Kids.
Yeah.
Research has shown that dogs have a very positive effect on literacy, behaviour and self-esteem. We find Fernie has a very positive effect on children's learning. The kids actually love patting the dog, and it makes them feel more comfortable in the room where the lessons on reading are done.
Oh, sure.
And if the dog comes and nuzzles up to them when they're reading, they feel it's a very nice subject to get involved in, right?
Yeah. Well, there's nothing better than a dog nuzzling up to you.
Is that right?
Well, don't you know?
Well, I haven't got a dog, have I?
Well, you had one.
Yeah, well, I used to a long time ago.
Well, you must remember how it felt when the dog nuzzled up to you, or did you not ever have him nuzzle up to you?
Yes, of course I did, but the poor dog...
Well, why don't you remember?
Because I was a kid. I was a youngster. It's a long time ago.
Well, you got memories from then, surely?
Well, they're not that clear, to be honest.
No, they're just all horrible memories,
No. Now, I'm trying to find out... Oh, right, now, this is happening at Winford Primary School.
By the way?
What
happened to your dog?
It died of brain tumour. Right, now then, this dog is at Winford Primary School near Bristol. How about that?
How about it?
Do you think that's good?
I think it is good, yeah.
That's fantastic. So
I'm just very surprised that in this day and age of kind of health and safety and all the rest of it, that any school would allow a dog into a classroom full of kids.
Why?
Well, not because I think there's anything wrong with it, but because normally speaking, you would expect somebody to stand up and go, well, what if the dog attacks the children?
No. The dog is trained to work with children.
Yeah, I know that.
Just like a blind guide dog.
Blind guide dog.
No, guide dog for the blind is trained to help people who are, impaired sight.
Impaired sight.
Yeah, and other people have impaired hearing. They have dogs as well. Yeah, Dogs for the Deaf now is a growing charitable industry.
I saw a story over the weekend about a woman who has a dog that can foresee when she's going to have an epileptic episode.
That's right. They can smell.
Which has really helped her.
They can smell the change of the body chemical makeup.
Amazing.
The chemical makeup in the body.
Yeah.
This dog, by the way, right, just to tell everybody what's going on. The dog is Fernie. Now, his owner is head teacher Nick Gardner at this school.
Right.
And there's actually a video out, and when Nick holds up a white piece of paper with the word "down" written on it, the dog lies down.
Uh-huh.
When he holds up a piece of paper which says "roll over," the dog rolls over.
Yeah.
When he puts up a bit of paper which says "sit," the dog sits down. So the dog has genuinely...
There must be more to it than that.
Well, I
don't think the dog's reading.
I tell you what...
I don't think it's reading.
Well, a leading dog behaviourist, a guy called Stan Rawlinson, says, I'm a bit sceptical about Fernie's reading skills.
There you go.
He said, we tend to look at an animal and think it does the same as we do, but it's totally impossible for an animal to read the spoken word.
Yeah. Well, I think
how does he know that?
Well, because there will be something about each piece of paper that makes that dog do whatever it does. In the same way that you can use sign language to make a dog roll over, lie down, and do all that, sit. I reckon there's probably something specific to each piece of paper that makes it do
the
those
expert
things.
goes on to say, but they can look at a pattern. If there's a trigger, the picture can get the dog to do what it has learned.
Yeah.
I never cease to be amazed by what dogs are capable of.
They are incredible creatures.
Yeah,
they really are.
Indeed, yeah.
However, I don't think they can read. Because if they could read, surely they'd be, reading a lot more. Because reading's very enjoyable.
Well, yeah, but this is the first dog who's been taught to read.
Well, he's not reading War and Peace, is he?
Well, he's been taught to read, though. Of course not reading War and Peace, you idiot. How would you turn the pages over?
This is dog sport.
As every sports person knows, timing is everything. It can be the difference between standing on the podium and going home empty-handed. It can be the difference between a sweet first touch that finds the corner of the net and the missed kick that ends up in row Z. And when it comes to hereditary hair loss, timing is vital as well. Because the earlier you start using Regain for Men Extra Strength Scalp Foam, the higher your chances of success. An estimated 7.5 million men in the UK experience hereditary hair loss, many of them before they're 35. But fortunately, Regain is on hand with all the information and support you need to help you separate the facts from the fiction. If you've noticed you're starting to lose your hair, you need to understand exactly why it's happening and what you can do about it. And now Regain has an app that gives you support and advice to track your progress and maintain your twice-daily routine. Download the Regain for Men iPhone app from the App Store today and start separating the facts from the fiction at regain.co.uk. Regain contains minoxidil. Always read the label.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick Off on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Tonight from 7, we get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion, and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick, or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick Off, weeknights from 7 on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Please gamble responsibly.
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport.
What a goal!
Tonight from 7, join Danny Kelly and the team for another exciting night of European football. Don't miss live full match commentary of Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
Oscar stretches and scores!
Then tomorrow night from 7, uninterrupted full match commentary of Roma versus Real Madrid.
Cristiano Ronaldo is arriving and he knocks it home!
UEFA Champions League football.
Perfect timing!
Live on Talk Sport.
Touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline. Good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe there never was, but now I look at the night.
Did you have a good Valentine's Day?
Well, it was interesting, actually, because I got up really early, as I always do, 4:30 in the morning.
Why?
Well, because I wanted to. And I had
4:30?
Yeah, and I had to go out and feed the ducks and everything, you know.
It's been very cold this weekend as well.
It has been very cold, actually.
Was the pond frozen over?
It was, yeah. Two-thirds of it was. By the time when I got
preventing them from getting to their food?
Yes, well, it can do. That's why I went out early, actually, in case they were distressed. Yes. So, anyway, I went out, fed the ducks and all. I got back, and then I put out a tweet, and it said, basically, a very happy Valentine's Day to all my female followers, listeners, viewers, you know, if it's a vodcast or something on Two Mikes TV. And generally speaking, anybody whom I've associated with or known, all my friends and everything else.
It wasn't that long, really, was it?
Sorry?
It wasn't that long.
What?
Your Valentine's
You saw
message.
it then, did you?
Yeah.
You saw it. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
your first Valentine's message was a very happy Valentine's Day to all my female followers.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. So then, about an hour later, I started getting tweets saying, don't you want to send wishes to your male followers?
Yeah, which is fair enough.
And so I said, well... You know, I suppose traditionally it's always been a sort of...
I love you all,
me.
I think you finished the first one.
Yeah, I love you all.
I love you all.
Yeah, but then I said, look, you know, I'll send a Valentine's message to anybody who wants one, no matter who they are, if they're, you know, listeners to TalkSport and all that kind of stuff, the two mics and all that. Then a very happy and warm Valentine's Day to you all.
Yeah.
So I tried to cover all bases in the end.
I saw that, yeah.
And,
after originally making a bit of a blunder.
No, I didn't make a blunder at all.
No, you did.
I didn't.
Because first of all, you only addressed it to women, which is sexist. And second of all,
no, it's not.
You said you loved them all, which is not possibly the case because you don't know them all.
I'm
you can't love them all.
heterosexual. So if you,
I know you are.
So you're bound
That's
to
not the
send
point.
messages to people who you think may be a Valentine partner.
Really?
You see? Yeah, of course you do. Don't be silly.
Well, so you were attempting to find a partner, you mean?
What?
You weren't attempting to find a partner.
No, of course I wasn't attempting to find a partner. I was attempting to represent the sort of partnership.
You didn't go out Valentine's, did you?
That I've been involved in over the years.
Yeah, but
you know, I mean, I've been a pretty tasty catch, you know, for most of my life.
I know most of it, but lately not so much.
No, I didn't say that.
Although some pictures have come my way, which I may share with the general public.
Oh yeah, and what's that?
Yeah, well, I can't say too much at the moment. But
what do you mean? What are you on about?
Some pictures of some of your recent activity.
Rubbish.
With the ladies.
Rubbish.
Not rubbish at all.
It is rubbish. I don't know anything about this.
I have many sources. You know that paps are everywhere.
You're stitching me up again. You'll regret it.
Not at all.
You'll need a cranial surgeon, OK? She's going to warn you of that. I'm not taking any nonsense from you.
You may remember that we issued, or you issued, really, I should say, last week, a very generous offer, I thought, which was that we would donate £1 for all Valentine's cards sent to us.
Yes.
And we've chosen a winner.
We have.
From all the various cards that we got.
We have.
And we will be making a donation to charity.
We certainly will.
Although I don't think they'll be rescuing any great penguins from the amount of money they're going to be collecting.
No. Don't say that. We can't say about the number that have come in because we don't want to boast about the charitable donation we're making.
But it's not a great deal of money, is it?
But it's all relative. What is a great deal of money? I don't know. So we stick our hands in the bag full of Valentine's cards.
Yeah.
I pull one out. It's in a red envelope. I give it to old MG. You've opened it. Now tell us what the contents of it were, please.
It says this: for the two mics in my life, through trouble and strife, win, lose or draw, you always score 3 points in my heart.
That's lovely.
And nothing can keep us apart.
And who is that from?
It's from Sweet Caroline.
Sweet Caroline, and we just played the record, haven't we? The Neil Diamond record.
As if we planned it. And then, rather bizarrely at the bottom, she goes, "Come on, Watford."
Come on, Watford.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's got to do with it. But there you go.
Well, that's because she's a Watford fan.
Oh, I see. Yes, OK. Yeah,
I presume. I hope that's what it is.
That must be it, yeah. Well, that's very nice indeed, Caroline.
Very nice. Thank you,
where's Caroline from? Is she from Watford?
She doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Well, we'll assume she's from Hertfordshire then.
I didn't get a chance to check the postmark on the envelope.
No.
You didn't give me the envelope.
No, I didn't give it to him, no. Well, in that case, I just want to say thank you very much
indeed.
indeed.
And on the front, it's a very nice sort of, what you would call design with some sort of stick-on glittery and glass hearts.
Oh,
and it says,
nice.
You're my 1 in a million.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate because there's two of us.
Yeah, well, can I have a look at the... please?
By all means.
Okay, grabbing it over there. Oh, no, this is lovely. Now, this is a white card, not a red one. It came out of a red envelope. You're my 1 in a million, it says on the front. It's got a heart.
I've just said all that.
Hang on, with a little bow on it.
I've just said all that.
And what's all this? She's drawn some funny faces.
On the left?
Yeah.
No, you can read that bit out.
What do they say?
I couldn't make that bit out.
I can't make this out, actually. Your hours, is it? Does it say your hours or something? I don't know. But anyway, it's a
very nice card.
It's a very nice card. And Karen, I want to thank you very much indeed. We treasure this one. And thank you very much to everybody else who sent us a Valentine's card, as a result of which we will be benefiting a charity.
All right.
Indeed.
Now, a couple of tweets here have come in. Yep. One from John, who says 2/3 of the pond was frozen, so like Mike Parry, only 1/3 of the pond worked.
Well, that's right. Yeah, it's like my heart. Yeah, very good. That.
Well
done.
Easy TV says, loving the show tonight. Tell Porky to shut up.
What?
That's what Easy TV says.
What? Are you mad? Are you off your rocker?
And then here's one from Max, who says, Porky the Saviour, please save them. And he attaches a picture of the pet shop, which says that what you should do from January 30th in Ottawa, which has already passed, meet some of our foster dogs. which means I've just come and get a foster dog.
Well, that's nice. I like hearing about people who are looking after dogs and that sort of thing, because we should all be doing the same thing, OK?
Yeah.
Now, what is your problem with Jamie Vardy's Bentley?
No problem at all. I just think that, I mean, as Leicester, I mean, you know me, you know, when we talk about football, I have what you might regard as an instinct for the way that luck goes for teams.
Right.
I have an instinct for the kinds of things that encourage teams to do well and encourage other teams to do not so well. Big weekend it was, I thought, when Leicester lost to Arsenal. Now, you might say that going down to 10 men, it was their own fault. Certainly, the guy who got sent off should have known better.
Well, he let his teammates down.
He did.
He was rash. He was what's the word I'm looking for? Irresponsible, I think, is the word. And
because I think they would have got a draw and possibly even won that game.
I totally agree with you. Right? I totally agree.
You have to say great news for Danny Welbeck coming back and getting a goal. However, I think that because they've lost that game, and I think I just think it's the wrong time for Jamie Vardy to be pouncing around in a Bentley. He's become the new football millionaire.
Well, you say that, Mike.
I just don't think it's a good time.
Well, hang on. Vardy buys 1.6k Bentley, right? Jamie Vardy celebrates his new £13 million contract with Leicester by netting a £168,000 Bentley Continental, OK? Yeah. And this is not the baby Bentley, this is the saloon Bentley with 4 doors, right?
Unusually, they've put his licence plate on the front.
Yeah, well, it's J9VDY.
Well, you have to read it out.
Well, I might as well, because it's in millions of copies of
yeah, but normally they pixelate that, don't
they? They normally do, and I'm surprised they haven't.
It might be a mistake, because it's first edition. Maybe they meant to do it,
or
now you've just read it out anyway.
No, it could be. It could be that that they've made it up anyway. I don't know,
but it doesn't look like it.
Well, it's a personalised place.
Anyway, I just think I mean, I understand that footballers are very wealthy. Yes. I understand that they've got loads of money, and most of them have got Bentleys. I just think at this moment in time, it's not a good time to see that picture.
I disagree. It's the normal lifestyle of a footballer. What I was going to say is compare it to last week when didn't we see a Manchester City player arriving for work in a gold Rolls Royce?
I didn't see that.
No,
picture,
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I can't remember which one it was now. To be honest,
well,
I'm not
it was
sure.
also the same weekend that Jolyon Lescott decided to post a picture of a very, very expensive Mercedes,
£120,000 Mercedes,
C63, by way of a sort of 2 fingers to the fans.
Are you sure about that? He said it was an accident. He said he was sorry he posted it because.
I mean, I know that you don't understand how Twitter works, but you can't post something on Twitter from your pocket.
Well, I must admit, I thought the explanation was ridiculous. Yeah. He said, I put it in my pocket, and somehow the picture leapt onto Twitter and came out. I think that was a kind of. Well, it was a look. Do you think I care about your criticism? I'm very wealthy type response, wasn't it?
I think
Which
it was.
Is not really a very nice thing to do.
I think it was, and there was a suggestion certainly on one of the Aston Villa fan sites that I saw, and I don't know whether it was true. That his original intention was to send out one of those, here's my new car. I'm going home to my wife, who's a model, and basically I've got loads of money in the bank. So get lost.
Yeah, I think. Well, it had all the insinuations of that just by publishing the picture of the car.
Exactly.
I mean, for instance, I get lots of criticism, don't know, of people sometimes. I mean, some it's very
the man of the people,
and all that. But I don't go around. Do I putting out pictures of my car or pictures of my penthouse flat or anything like that? I wouldn't want to do that.
Well, you put a picture of your penthouse flat out the other night.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, that was a picture within. That was within.
Yeah, but it was inside the penthouse.
Yes, but I mean,
you could see in the distance the shimmering lights of Portsmouth.
Oh well, across the harbour, you mean? Well, maybe
not exactly LA, is it? Hey?
Well, no, but it's a fantastic.
Not exactly the Manhattan skyline.
It's a fantastic vista. It's a fantastic vista. I mean, what do you look at on some concrete blocks?
Pardon?
Some concrete blocks.
From which abode are you talking about?
From your place in town.
London?
Yeah.
I can see the Crystal Palace transmitter.
Oh, can you?
See,
about 8 miles away.
Not that far, actually. I can see
council flats opposite.
I can see. No. There's some houses opposite.
Yeah, that's
quite
what
low.
I mean. Yeah.
I can see some very
a row of council houses.
I can see Canary Wharf.
Canary Wharf,
which is very, very pretty.
About 7 miles away, yeah.
Canary Wharf, no, it's about half a mile away.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah,
and I can also see the Shard, actually.
You can see the Shard,
which is a rather spellbinding view.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, did
especially when they light it up at Christmas.
Yes, that's right. Well, did you know that anybody living within 50 miles radius of London can see the Shard? It's so tall, you idiot.
That's very harsh.
No, it's not.
I thought you were going to be nice to me this week.
Well, I'm trying to be nice to you, but you're winding me up already, so, you get it right in the mush.
Also, where I park my car is right on the river.
Oh.
In a very beautiful, quiet road.
Is it? Yeah.
And I can see the cheese grater, I can see the gherkin.
The cheese grater.
I can see, and I can look at all the wildlife in the rivers. It's very nice, thank you.
Do you think this means anything to anybody? It doesn't mean anything to anybody who lives outside of London.
All I'm saying is that people made quite a few remarks, especially about that telescope you've got sitting there as well.
Well, no,
we'll talk about that in a minute.
No, it's not a telescope, it's a pair of binoculars. And everybody who lives...
like a telescope.
Everybody who lives in my apartment complex, anybody who lives on the coast...
Snob Towers.
No, we all have either a telescope or binoculars on a tripod to look out to sea the approaching ships coming from the Isle of Wight. Yeah.
What, the ferries?
No. Huge liners that go past the Isle of Wight on the way to Southampton Sound.
Right.
They
bypass Portsmouth altogether, don't they?
No, not all of them. Some of them come into Portsmouth, some of them go on beyond.
All right. This is Talk Sport.
Drive on Talk Sport, the UK's only sports-dedicated drive time with Sky Sports. The sharpest analysis on all the day's action from the giants of sport.
Shane Warne is with us on the show. How you doing, Shane?
G'day, guys. How are you?
Laser-guided comment and rapid reaction from a nation of sports fanatics.
Into the corner of the net.
Drive home with Darren Goff and Adrian Durham.
Who else?
Weekday afternoons from 4 on Talk Sport with Sky Sports, the home of the Barclays Premier League.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
I'm a penguin and I'm a bird.
I'm a penguin and I'm a bird.
I'm a penguin and I'm a bird. I'm a penguin, I'm a bird, and I can fly. Watch me underwater, I can fly. With Penelope, my daughter, I'm a penguin, I'm a bird, and I can fly.
That'd be the thing, wouldn't it? If the penguins could fly, they could just fly around it. Fly over it.
Well, I've had a rather cruel tweet here saying, why don't the penguins just do this? They're all throwing themselves off a cliff into the sea.
Yeah.
So that's
like lemmings.
Yeah, well, that's all very... The suggestion is, why don't they climb over the iceberg?
Yeah.
Well, it's the size of Rome, that's why. And Rome was made of 7 hills. And these little penguins can't climb all the way up the side of the iceberg because it would take them like a week or something.
Rome wasn't built in a day,
Rome wasn't built in a day. They throw themselves off on the other side.
Yeah.
I tell you what, talking about distances and all that, did you see that report over the weekend, which drove me clinically mad?
Which one?
Average speed for the morning peak rush hour in this country has reached the lowest ever.
Right.
Morning commutes on England's jam-packed roads are taking longer than ever as an average rush hour speeds grind to a snail pace of 23.4 miles an hour.
Well, that's probably faster in some places than it is in others, because in London it's a lot less than that. Well, I didn't tell you, actually, I got caught in a terrible spot on Friday morning when I finished the show, because I hadn't gone down through Elephant and Castle for a while.
Okay.
And I was heading down to get on the old A2.
Yes.
And what I didn't know was that they turned Elephant and Castle from a gyratory system into a two-way roundabout.
Oh.
So you get down to the bottom of it, and if you're not in the left-hand lane, you can only turn right.
So is that what you had to do?
So I had to go right, and then I couldn't get back, so I ended up trying to find my way through Peckham.
My
at,
God.
6:15 in the morning.
6:15 a.m.
And every single road I went down had humps, chicanes.
It's terrible.
And in the end, I had to come all the way back to Elephant Castle to go down the Old Kent Road.
Frustrating.
Unbelievable.
It happened to me the other day when I tried to avoid a roadworks in the area around sort of Streatham.
Yeah.
And I got lost as well. Just to answer your question,
go on.
23.4 is the average across the country. It includes motorways and everything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what the average is for West London?
I was going to say 10.
3.5 miles an hour. Literally 3.5 miles an hour.
I think I'd just rather stop working altogether.
I would rather bash my head against a lamppost.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should do that.
What?
Ian says this. So when they hold up a piece of paper that says, "How are you?" the dog goes, "Rough." And then here's one from the two mics. Lots more coming up in the show, of course. A load of tweets I should read out here. Here's one from Carl, who says, Lescott's tweet more or less said, "We played rubbish today, but don't worry, your cash is being spent well." Here's one from Mal, who says, "Porky, it's true, you never post pictures of your car and property, but you never stop telling us about them."
No.
Hashtag man of himself.
Oh, no. You have to understand that I'm not frightened to share my lifestyle with my millions of listeners. I'm not frightened to do it. I'm not hiding away anywhere. My money, I don't know what
I had some very odd dreams, actually. I had a little nap just before I came in tonight.
Oh, really?
A couple of hours, and I had some very weird dreams. I mean, nothing that I can actually remember.
You regard a couple of hours as a little nap?
Yeah.
I regard that as a major sleep.
2 hours?
Yeah.
2 hours is not a major sleep.
I never sleep about 3 or 4 hours a day anyway.
Yeah, I know. But
that's half of my night's sleep.
Normal.
You're
not normal. John says, I've been listening to Porky for nearly 15 years since I was 12.
Right.
In that time, I've matured and become a wiser man. How about you, Porky?
Most people would say I might have gone the other way, but I wouldn't.
How about this?
Yeah.
What we need is, the only thing that can save us is bladderation. Somebody's posted a picture of some penguins standing around a bottle of rum.
Well, I'm not having a joke about penguins. These penguins are dying at an enormous rate, and I want something done about it. I still claim it wouldn't be difficult to torpedo the iceberg that is blocking their route to their food and causing them to have to walk 37 miles.
George Patton in Blackpool,
right.
I don't know if he's related to General Patton.
Doubt it.
He says this, Porky, I always agree with you, but a missile would not blow the iceberg up. It would have to be a nuclear missile and probably more than one.
No.
2 would probably do it. With the current political climate, it could be very dangerous to launch a couple of nuclear missiles.
I'm not suggesting
I think the UN
moment.
would not allow it.
I'm not suggesting for one moment you launch a nuclear missile or anything as ridiculous as that.
Do you want to hear the end of this, guys?
Yes, please,
text?
I do.
He says, anyway, Porky, your concern for the penguins shows you are a man of the people.
Thank you.
Surely man of the penguins. Keep your eye on MG. He's always gerrymandering.
Yeah, well, you definitely are. Now, listen, I want to be very serious for a moment, please.
Yeah, OK.
Literally, this is an interlude of a minute or so to be serious.
Go on.
One of the stories that broke my heart over the weekend was the tragic story about the group, the British group, young lads.
Oh, this is terrible.
Mostly aged 19.
Yeah,
and
this is awful.
And their bass player, I think, was 27. Their manager's a bit older.
Yeah.
Who were wiped out in a terrible car crash incident in Sweden.
Absolutely awful accident.
Absolutely.
I can't work out
shocking.
what could have happened, but I'll tell you, I've never seen a bridge which rises in the way that bridge rises, so that effectively there's no road.
Well, exactly. Just to explain to our listeners, they're coming along a road and there are 2 barriers with flashing lights on, which says stop.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like a railway crossing in this country.
But I presume they're quite sort of what I would call, not very solid barriers.
Well,
right?
I don't know, because we're going to tell you what happened now. So the first barrier is flashing lights and telling you to stop. The Swedish people obviously are very used to it, and the reason is because you quite rightly say a section of the road actually elevates up. Because a boat
lifts up horizontally.
Lifts up horizontally.
Yeah.
It's not like 2 flaps that flap up a bit like London Bridge. It's one solid piece of the road is elevated because below is a canal and a ship is passing through a canal.
Yeah.
That means that the road effectively ends where the middle section is lifted up.
Yeah.
What happens is 2 lines of traffic are lined up at these barriers, and I suppose the Swedish people, just outside Stockholm this is happening, know about this procedure. All of a sudden, this car comes shooting past on the outside lane, which contains 4 members of the group and their manager, who was apparently driving.
Yeah.
It smashes through the 2 barriers and then disappears over the drop 80 feet down into the canal below. And every member, the 5 members of the car are killed. 2 theories so far. One, that the brakes completely failed and that they were unable to stop the car.
Yeah.
I've no idea whether that's...
Which sounds plausible.
Plausible. But the other one is that the lads were drinking after their concert. It was their first overseas concert, but the manager who was driving was not drinking.
Yeah.
So he was in no way under the influence of drink.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's a completely inexplicable...
Yeah.
And terribly tragic.
Well, you
event.
wonder if I suppose it's possible if the as I say again, if the barriers are not strong enough to stop a car, they're simply there to kind of be a warning.
Well, I suppose a speeding car would get through most things, wouldn't it? Really?
Well, I mean, I go through a couple of level crossings down in Sussex,
right?
And basically what they have is that sort of it's like the metal bar comes down, but beneath the metal bar, all there is
a bit of a gate.
It's just a sort of a hanging kind of string thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't think it would actually stop your car from going through it, but it's awful. Apparently they were on the brink of making it pretty big. They might, as we heard on the news there, they might even make it to number 1 now.
Yeah.
Which of course is not much comfort to their families, but it means that they're being remembered at least.
Shocking,
terrible,
and a terrible thing when you think that they're about the age that the Beatles were when they started. 19 years of age, just on the brink of greatness. They apparently were a very.
They were about to go and play some festival in the US, I think.
They were, and they were very good. And this was their first overseas. A terrible tragedy, and my heart goes out to all the families and friends and the fans who'll be involved. Terrible thing.
And he was a massive Manchester City fan, wasn't he, the manager?
The manager was, and they put a picture of him at the game yesterday. Indeed, they did.
Yeah.
Now, how often have I told you that I think that women in this country, particularly those who we've worked with, who write newspaper columns, are particularly...
When you say women that we've worked with,
Yeah.
are you about to sort of malign somebody that I might know?
No, I'm not.
Because
but I mean,
obviously I might not agree with you on that.
All right, well, I've worked with a lot of women and who've written columns and all that.
Yes.
And I find...
Most of them are quite amusing people.
Oh, they're very amusing. They're very good. And don't get me wrong, and they write good stuff and it gets... But I've always had this thing. Why are women in national newspapers so bitchy towards other women? I just can't get it.
Well, because in the end, that's what women are like.
Well, here, let me show you this.
Not all women are part of the general sisterhood.
Right.
You know, they don't just like each other because they're from the same gender.
Yeah, this is Amanda Platel's column from the Mail on Sunday.
Well, she's a particularly good exponent of it.
She's a great writer as well, and I love reading her stuff, and she used to be a former press officer to William Hague, who was the Tory party leader then, and all this kind of stuff.
Not for long, mind you.
No, she wasn't, for long. But anyway, nevertheless, she's got a great track record. She's been a Sunday newspaper editor.
Yeah.
She now writes a column in the Mail on Sunday, and I love the stuff she writes, but it's so bitchy. Listen to this. So she describes Lord Karen Brady as Baroness Porn, who looked like she'd come and have a sew strip joint at 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
Right.
She describes Fergie, the ex-Duchess of York.
Yeah.
4 words to warm the heart: Fergie has left Britain. Let the celebrations begin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because she's off to live in Switzerland.
That's right, she's off to live in Switzerland.
Marvellous.
Pippa Middleton, right, who, of course, is the future Queen's sister.
Yes.
Pippa Middleton.
Most famous for her bottom, really.
Most for her bottom as a bridesmaid at Kate's wedding.
Yeah.
Pippa Middleton gushes to Hello magazine about competing in the world's longest downhill skiing race, the Inferno. And she goes on to say, Pippa says, it's been on my bucket list for a few years. Pity getting a proper job and not freeloading off a long-suffering royal sister wasn't also on her list of life's ambitions.
Yes. Well, you got to love these kind of comments.
I mean, listen to this one here. Lamenting the popularity of Donald Trump, the feather-brained actress Julianne Moore says historically that's how things happen. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Finally, George Clooney's wife. How kind of George Clooney to meet German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Now, she goes on to say, by opening his £10 million 9-bedroom mansion in Berkshire to Syrian refugee families might be a greater help, or his £70 million Italian villa. And the cost of one of his stick insect wife Amel's frocks, like the one she wore with him above at the Berlin Film Festival, could feed a destitute family for a year.
Well,
I mean,
you can't say any of that's really wrong, though, can you?
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying
that's one of the great things about newspapers, because unfortunately lots of other mediums, people tend to be very nice to one another for one reason or another, whereas in newspapers they still have the old hatchet job, and I think that's to be celebrated.
On the very same page, she says, so David Beckham's in Los Angeles and posh over here. I'd like to know who's looking after their brood of children, including his daughter Harper, who's only 4, or have Dolce & Gabbana taken over that role from Posh as well. I mean,
well, some people would say that's none of her business, of course.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
that's what she does. She does it very well,
isn't it? I agree. I love reading it, you know, but golly, she's not exactly promoting the sisterhood, is she? You know what I mean?
But neither should she, in my view.
Oh, okay.
Because you wouldn't accuse a man of attacking other men and somehow not being good for the male ego.
No, probably not.
Probably not. This is Talk Sport.
Park your preconceptions of the electric car. Explore the cars that are redefining the future of driving. From the innovative BMW i3 to the pioneering BMW i8 sports car. To test drive the range, visit the BMW Become Electric event between the 25th and 28th of February. Find your nearest BMW i agent at bmw.co.uk/becomeelectric. Test drive subject to status and availability.
What do you think?
Oh, that's lovely on you, Jack.
Oh, yeah, it really suits you, Dad.
It's not too much?
No, it's lovely. It's really you.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh, it's a fixed rate tariff too.
And better than the other one.
Oh, yeah, that's dead nice.
You shop around for clothes, so why not for energy deals? Switching energy suppliers could save you up to £200. And with our independent guide and links to Ofgem approved comparison sites, it's never been easier. Visit goenergyshopping.co.uk.
Young tradespeople of the UK, Juicin want you.
Juicin are looking for the Juicin Young Tradesperson of the Year, and it could be you. If you're under 30...
and a brilliant brickie.
A perfect plasterer or a cracking carpenter, make sure you visit juicintools.co.uk/Young Tradesperson of the Year. Before the end of February, you could win a grand's worth of tools and a top trip to see Barcelona at the Nou Camp. Alone. Juicin Young Tradesperson of the Year. Proudly sponsored by Osma. Terms and conditions apply.
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport.
Come on!
Kicking off tonight from 7 with full match commentary of Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
It's a goal!
Followed tomorrow night from 7 by Roma versus Real Madrid.
With a beautiful volley! What a goal!
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport with Direct Line Van Insurance. For de facto 5-star rated van insurance, search Direct Line Van.
Colin Murray.
They managed to get the best football team in the world. They look like idiots.
This morning from 10.
Can we get back to this show? How's about that?
Talk Sport.
Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as ho-ho-hos.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Of course, winners and losers coming up a little bit later on, and we've been playing it fair of late, so we'd like to encourage everybody else to play it fair throughout the course of the night. Johnny says this, great point well made about Vardy by MG. I agree, he should be leaving all the treating of himself until the summer.
No, I don't agree.
Actually, I think there is a good point here. It's about perception, right?
Yeah.
It's not about... Yeah. Of course, he can afford to buy a Bentley by all means. But if there's a danger of it being published in the papers, and I'm sure there might be other players who have bought Bentleys this week, I just think it's bad timing.
I don't agree.
It doesn't look right.
I don't agree. Do you know what I think it was?
I say football karma has a way of coming back and biting you.
Do you know what I think it was?
What?
I think it was a statement to say... Now we're the same as the superstar footballers that you all praise every week. That's what I think he was saying.
Yeah, but that's dangerous, you see,
I don't think it is.
Leicester's appeal, and the reason that most neutral fans want Leicester to win, is that that's not what they're like.
Yeah, but
if they are, then they're just the same.
Yeah, but look at Jamie Vardy's attitude, right? For years and years and years, he's 29 now. His ability was rejected by top clubs.
Well, he wasn't as good as he is now.
Well, it was unrecognised. It was rejected. He didn't get the opportunity. He's now got it. Okay, he's now saying, right, I'm just as good now as anybody else. I'm going to play for England in the summer in France, right?
Very possibly.
That's what he's saying.
By the way, did you see Roy Hodgson on Match of the Day?
Oh, he was awful.
Terrible.
I thought he was shocking.
I don't know why they ever put him on there.
Not to strike, please.
He made no. That's what I found very odd. And I shouldn't criticise, I suppose, the sartorial elegance or otherwise of
but have an
managers.
open-neck shirt on.
No, but did you see the collar? It was a white shirt, but the collar inside had a sort of bizarre blue,
I saw that.
Almost like willow pattern.
Yeah, that's right.
Blue and white pattern on it.
But I
like when you see people with those suits and they've got those personally made tailored suits and they open and they've got some ridiculous lining.
Yeah. But
he's quite a dandy, old Roy Hodgson, isn't he?
Yeah, but I thought it was a mistake for him to go on that show.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the only thing he did was say yes to everything. He didn't criticise any players. No. He didn't say, well, I don't think about this or think about that.
And when he was asked any direct questions always by Alan Shearer rather than by Gary Lineker, he never really answered them.
No, he never answered them. I mean, and the proof of the pudding is that it's now Monday. Not one single line appeared in a Sunday paper or a Monday paper about anything controversial he said on Match of the Day, which is usually the forum for people to make their opinions known.
Yeah.
And honestly, I just could not see the point of it.
My heart sank when I saw he was on it.
So did I. You'd never get a job, would he, as a TV presenter if he gives up the England role. But anyway, what I was going to say about Jamie Vardy is... did you see him take that penalty?
Yes.
I mean, that was a penalty taken by a man who has tremendous self-belief.
No question.
I mean, just bang, he dispatched it
against
like
one of the greatest goalkeepers in the league.
Against one of the greatest goalkeepers in the league. He had no hesitation where it was going. He turned around, he didn't look at all nervous, very happy to take on the job because his strike partner has missed the last two, hasn't he? Old Vardy, right?
Yeah.
So there he was.
Not Vardy, the other guy.
Sorry.
Mahrez.
He's Vardy. Mahrez,
yeah.
Sorry, he's Vardy, yeah. And so there's that. And the other thing, which I think is tremendously to Leicester's advantage, and not many people have commented on this, is that between now and Leicester playing their next game, all their other title rivals have got 3 games.
Yeah, that's right.
But because Leicester are out the FA Cup and they're not playing in Europe, they've got an incredible break now before they have to embark on the last third of the season, the final 12 games, and the run into the Premier League title.
I could give you better than that, right?
Yeah.
The situation regarding all of these 4 teams, potential number of fixtures remaining in all competitions. For Leicester, 12, obviously, the Premier League.
Yep.
Tottenham, 27.
Yep.
Arsenal, 25. Yep. Manchester City, 26.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, it is quite unbelievable. But there you go.
Fascinating stuff. Let me read you a couple more now.
Okay.
This is because it's current to the moment. Demian says, seriously, though, I should be watching the Grammys, but I'm listening to the 2 mics.
Good.
So the 2 mics are now more popular than the Grammys.
Excellent. That's a very good choice, mate. Well done. Now, what I want to talk to you about are the number of whingers and moaners in this country.
Yeah.
I am fed up to the back teeth.
So you're going to whinge and moan about the whingers and moaners?
No.
I'm just about to.
I'm not a whinger or moaner.
Yes, you are.
I'm not a whinger or moaner. Listen to this.
Go on.
Researchers prove that the British truly are a nation of moaners.
Yeah.
We make more than 50 million complaints a year about products and services, but another 62 million people don't bother. I mean, this is unbelievable. It's
what do you mean
unbelievable.
they have something which is faulty, but they don't bother?
They don't
reporting?
bother, yeah. And I'm amongst the 62 million because I'm afraid I cannot be bothered to complain.
Well, you see, when you said that originally about whinges and moans, I didn't think you were going to tell me about people who actually physically complain to organisations.
50 million.
But I think there's definitely something in the British psyche which makes people moan and groan. I mean, I was involved in a little, not Twitter spat, but a sort of Twitter conversation the other day with a couple of people who were moaning and groaning about the podcast. Because a lot of people say, well, yeah, sometimes there's a mistake with the podcast, sometimes it doesn't come out, sometimes it comes out late, sometimes it's got adverts in it. But in the end, I mean, as much as we appreciate the people listen to the podcast, and it's been doing very well, 250,000 downloads last December.
That's right.
Right. The bottom line is, it's free.
Yes.
But they still complain.
Well, you know, look, anybody who's a listener to the two mics gets my wholehearted support. And if you want to have a moan, have a whinge, that's fine by me, because we attempt to produce a perfect service. But what makes me laugh here is a record 18.7 million, that's 36%, were made on social media. So that's opened up a huge new avenue for the whingers and the moaners, you know, to get stuck in, right? Moaning by taking to Twitter or Facebook to shame poor service, OK?
Right. But I think that's a good thing, because if it's about service and you're not happy with something that somebody's sold you, then other people should know about it, and it might help improve the service. The
annual Consumer Action Monitor, compiled by Complaints Mediator Ombudsman Services, found 52 million complaints in 2015.
One million for each week.
Well, yes, exactly, yeah. Now, I can't be bothered to complain.
Why?
I just can't. Because it's too much time and trouble.
But it depends on the complaining process.
It stresses you out.
Yeah, but it does. But I think partly that's because they design it so that it's complicated. I mean, have you ever tried to, for example, claim back a railway ticket because the train was late?
No, never.
And I'm going to be going on a train at the weekend coming back from Bournemouth.
That's right. Yeah.
But as I say, you know, if I miss the last train, you may be hearing from me. But bottom line is, they make it so difficult because the rules are that you have to be at least half an hour late.
Right.
Then you have to go online. Right. Then you have to take a picture of the ticket that you bought. Then you have to submit the complaint as to what exactly was the cause of the problem.
And who could be bothered?
And by the time you've looked at that, you just go and bother.
No, I couldn't be bothered.
But that's why they do it.
I can't be bothered to complain about anything like that. You know,
hang on, but Maxwell says you just spent about half an hour complaining about the traffic in London.
Yes.
That's life in the big city, boys.
Yeah,
Takes
I know.
me 4 minutes to get home.
I know, but I couldn't be bothered to ring up Boris Johnson's office and say, would you ask the mayor with the mop of hair and the rather broad girth to get off his very substantial derriere and start making traffic move faster in London without building cycle superhighways just so he can ride around at his leisure while motorists are trapped in interminable, nightmarish traffic jams.
But, I mean, the fact is that is a complaint, and you do complain quite a lot because you have this this forum in which to do so.
Yes.
You know, you can't say that you don't complain, because you complain about a lot of things.
Yeah, but I don't make formal complaints. I mean, for instance...
You complained about that guy who was reading, poems on the train when, the train announcer. Well, that was a moan, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what the latest complaint is in my consumer journals I read. Cheery, I've told you about this, haven't I? Cheery shopkeepers.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, what a nightmare. And that's prompted a new debate about, the cheery... Who wants a cheery shop assistant?
Well, I'd rather a cheery one than a sullen one, to be honest.
Now, I mean, do you remember I told you I bought those 2 pairs of trainers quite recently? When I got them home, they didn't fit.
Well, neither pair?
Neither pair fit, no. And I thought that, that was wrong.
Because they're selling the wrong size?
Well, they were a normal size, and I made sure that the 9.5... And that was stitched into the tongue. Yeah, that was stitched into the tongue.
9.5.
I am, I swear to you.
I don't believe you.
And that was stitched into the tongue, right? And
the tongue?
The tongue of the shoe.
Why?
Well, because that's where they stitch the size of the shoe.
What, on the front of it?
No, you idiot, underneath it.
On the inside?
Yes,
exactly. Well, they just put it on the inside of the shoe like everybody else.
Well, I don't know, they just don't. So anyway, the point of my story is, I tried them both on, and they both had my big toe hard up against the top of the shoe, uncomfortable. And when I was walking, it just was too uncomfortable.
Was it round the wrong way, maybe? 6.5?
What an idiot you are.
Well, it could be.
No,
9 and 6.
Couldn't, because then it would be half a 6, wouldn't it, you fool?
What?
It would be half a 9.
What do you mean?
Instead of being, if it was 6.5, they turn it round, it'd be half a 9. It wouldn't be 9.5.
Well, maybe you didn't notice that bit.
No, I noticed everything, you idiot.
Well, you bought the wrong size, so you're the idiot.
I did not buy the wrong size, I bought the right size. Anyway, the point is...
You said they didn't fit.
They didn't fit. They didn't fit. So I couldn't be bothered because I'd lost the receipt.
What, so you just chucked them away?
No, I gave them to the charity shop. I told you.
Oh, that's very good of you.
Yeah, I gave them to the charity shop.
You didn't give them to a couple of the filthy beggars lying around by the bottom of your building.
Because I didn't know if they had 9.5 size feet, did I?
You could have just told them they were 9.5.
Anyway, do you know how hard it is, by the way, to give stuff to a charity shop?
Yeah, very difficult.
So I walk in there, you know, and I say...
They don't like taking stuff, do they?
Well, I explained, and they said, where's the receipt? I said, what do you mean? Where's the receipt? And I said, and I thought, hang on, what are you insinuating here? That I've nicked them or something?
Yeah.
Or you know, that I got them from somewhere else.
Back of a lorry.
Yeah, fell off the back of a lorry or something.
Well, why should they care?
Well, I suppose because if a policeman came knocking and said those have been reported as stolen or something, they'd have to tell you. But anyway, the point I'm making is that we have a colleague here who is constantly frustrated by train journeys.
Oh, yeah.
And complains all the time.
Don't mention her name.
No, I'm not mentioning any names. I didn't even say it was a him or a her, did I? I haven't said anything about this.
Right.
But I admire somebody who's got the persistence and the will to do it, but I just could not be bothered.
For me, I think it depends. If it's something massive... You know, that's really like, for example, the last time I made an official complaint, because if you notice in banks now, they'll talk about, or any organisation, they'll talk about, would you like to escalate this complaint? Yeah. That's the phraseology they use, right? And I did it at that time, my car broke down in the New Forest. Right. Because it took them 3 hours to come and get me. Yeah. And as a result of that, I got some money off them. Yes. Because, you know, for me, that was worth doing, because it was such a horrendous experience.
If I'm in a restaurant, right, and I don't like the meal I'm eating, I just call the waitress over and say, thanks very much. Can you take that away, please? I'll have that instead. I don't complain.
But do you pay for it?
Yes, of course I do.
Because you don't have to, you know.
No, I do.
No, but by law, you can reject any payment for any food you don't like.
I can't be bothered.
I did that once in the Pont de la Tour.
And I don't, yeah, you told me about that. I was interested. I'll tell us that in a minute. But I don't like raising the ante in a restaurant and creating a bad atmosphere when I want to stay for another couple of hours. Right. I don't like people...
Why do you start singing then?
Sorry?
Why do you start singing?
Because I probably had too much to drink. But what I'm saying is, I would just say, look, that was very nice, thanks, but I've changed my mind.
That time in the Indian restaurant, they told you to stop swearing.
No, I don't.
I remember that one very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where was it?
It was in Covent Garden.
What?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I remember being in an Indian restaurant, Covent Garden with you.
Apparently all the people sitting around us were asking to be moved.
Don't be ridiculous.
They were. It's true. I'll tell you exactly where it was. Coming up. But next we're going to talk about Russia and what's happened to that guy who died suddenly. This is Talk Sport.
Broadcasting the latest sports news and pundit opinion 24 hours a day. This is Talk Sport.
Come on!
The radio station that brings you all the big names.
Danny Murphy.
I wasn't one to over-celebrate in the past, but being a Merseyside derby and growing up, knowing the importance of it, I found my way venturing into the Liverpool supporters.
The Watford captain Troy Deeney with us in the studio.
None of the other nonsense. No one thinking they're better. They should be in this league. They should be in that league. We should win. Roll your sleeves up. Don't want to play. Don't bother coming.
Plus the biggest games and the biggest goals.
Well, the cross from David Silva and Vincent Kompany has got his head onto that. And now you would imagine it is all over.
Expect the unexpected on Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes. Winners and losers coming up in a little while. There's an awful lot of winners and losers to choose from this weekend, so we've got loads to do there. Let me read you a couple more tweets.
I've got a terrific list, by the way.
I'm sure you have.
I'm working on it all weekend.
Well, I'm very happy for you. That's what you should be doing. We're going to be talking to Alexei Yaroshevsky very shortly. Because he's a man who knows everything about the inner workings of Russia.
Absolutely.
How about this from Eric? He says, why doesn't Porky just ask his Russian masters to bomb the Iceberg? They are pro-bombing anything these days.
Well...
#save the penguin.
Well, believe me, they take a huge interest in the ecological development of the world, because for years and years they were trying to get through the permafrost in most of frozen Russia to get the oil out, to extract the oil to make themselves a wealthy country. So they're very, very aware of the environment and the dangers of not looking after it. Believe me.
Okay.
Believe me.
Here's one from Sean. He says, Porky lives mentally in a Bond movie.
What do you mean?
Torpedo the Iceberg. Really? Hey, did you see there's a Bond auction coming up?
Bond auction?
There's a Bond auction coming up. And let me see if I can find you the details of it.
And what are they auctioning?
Well, one of the things you can buy, which I thought this might interest you, because you've talked in the past about your kind of dream car would be an Aston Martin, right?
Yes.
One of the things that you can get your hands on, which is very rare, is the Aston Martin DB10, which was apparently used in Spectre. And most of the cars that we used in Spectre were either destroyed or what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Remodelled, not remodelled.
What, rebuilt?
No, modified.
Modified. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they have cameras attached to them.
Yeah, but so that they're no longer roadworthy, right? But there's one apparently which is, and so it's entirely possible that you could actually go and get your hands on some Bond memorabilia, but also, more importantly, possibly on the old get a car.
Get a car. You know, which was the Bond film that started and they completely wrecked a black Aston Martin. By the time he got to where he was going and had fought off all the villains.
I remember that one,
There were no doors
and
left
it turned
on
over and over and over.
Yeah, there was no boots.
That was Quantum of Solace, I think.
Quantum of Solace, I think it was, yeah. I think you're right, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I'll find you that Bond stuff in a moment.
Did you see, by the way, and maybe this is old news now, but I was only got it confirmed by reading something over the weekend, that Daniel Craig is not making any more Bond movies.
Yeah, I read that too, but I didn't see his original quote, so I don't know whether I presume it's true.
I saw the original quote in which he said, I'd rather slash my wrist than make another Bond movie. But when I read that, and that was sometime last year, it was passed off as a sort of, a satirical reference to the pressures of being Bond.
No, but something happened this weekend, apparently.
No, what happened is he signed up to be the star of some great American network series.
Oh, is that right?
And apparently he has told people now, look, this is very important to me to develop my TV career. Right. I can't do any more Bond films.
Well, I mean, I say good luck to him. I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was a pretty good Bond.
Yeah, it was pretty good, but a bit dark.
By no means.
I thought he was a bit lacking in humour.
I thought he was just getting into it, actually. I mean, maybe the next one would be good. Now, how about this from Jerry, who says Porky's favourite song just won a Grammy. # Thinking Out Loud.
What's that?
It's an album called Thinking Out Loud. I think, or a song called Thinking Out Loud.
No, you're having me on.
We'll have to play it.
You're having me on. That can't be true. Eh?
Now, here's a guy from, where is he? In Manchester, I think. Living in London, he says.
Yes.
You guys should do a show at my bar. Capacity 250.
Where is it?
He doesn't say. But he's in London somewhere.
In London?
Yeah.
I'm not sure 250 is enough, to accommodate sort of people who want to come and see us these days.
The sort of people.
Does that sound big-headed?
It does a bit,
doesn't it, really? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Sorry. Of course we'd come to a bar that accommodates 250.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Next show, by the way, on the road is in Manchester.
It is, on April the 9th.
April the 9th, Saturday.
Yeah.
It's by the way, kids, it is not only the day before the Manchester Marathon on the Sunday, the 10th, it is the day of the Grand National.
Apparently so.
It is the day of the Grand National.
So, I mean, you could go to the Grand National, run in the marathon, and see the two bikes. What a great weekend.
That's right.
That would take some stamina.
And tickets are going very well there, thank you, so don't...
Does that mean we'll be able to watch the Grand National in Manchester, then?
Of course we can watch it in Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be there in time for it, won't we?
Yeah, of course we'll be there in time for it, yeah. Now, I want to tell you about the Grand National, please.
Go on.
Because I am absolutely outraged that the ladies who go to the Grand National, and there's always a ladies' day at the Aintree meeting...
Is there not some kind of... did I not see a story about them
They've been told to smarten up.
Yeah.
They've been told to start looking more like the ladies who go to Ascot on Ladies' Day at Ascot.
Well, you've spoken about
this. Damned outrage.
You've spoken about this before because you believe this is discrimination against northern ladies, don't you?
I certainly do, and I think that all the fashion editors of the newspapers based in London, based in Fleet Street, who get free tickets, to all these fashion shows, and free tickets to Ascot, and free tickets to Epsom, to the Derby.
Yeah.
How dare they start examining the ladies who go to Aintree on a regular basis and start pulling them to bits. Now, the Aintree management...
Well, I suppose what you might say, without wishing to be unkind...
Yes.
there's quite a bit of drunkenness that goes on at Cheltenham.
Yes.
Quite a bit of drunkenness that goes on at Ascot, and indeed very, very many other of these big race meetings.
Yes.
But it always seems to be slightly worse at Aintree.
Well, it's not any worse at Aintree. I've been to both. I've been to Epsom, I've been to Ascot, I've been to Aintree.
Well, I'm not talking about your drunkenness, I'm talking about everybody else's.
Well, I've been there and I've seen the ladies and it's not the worst. But do you know the worst thing is? The management of Aintree Racecourse are actually getting involved in this and encouraging the idea that the ladies in Liverpool are less refined than the ladies at Ascot. Do you know what they've done?
Aren't they saying there's going to be some kind of dress competition or something now?
They are awarding Best Dressed Lady a £35,000 Range Rover.
Well, that's not bad, is it?
And £8,000 of fashion vouchers to the most stylish person on the day, whether they're male or female. But obviously, it's to encourage ladies to dress up and put on some smashing clothes. I think it's an outrage. I really do.
Well, hang on. Why do you think it's an outrage if they can win a load of money? I'm sure they'd be very happy to win money.
Because they're suggesting they don't look good in the first place. Listen to this. In an attempt to rejuvenate Ladies' Day at this year's Grand National Festival, organisers are cajoling women to style up. And they've actually said, take a leaf out of Ascot's book. Synonymous with acres of exposed flesh, the swilling of Chardonnay and a possession of gaudy hats. Ladies' Day at the Horse Racing Festival, Aintree, has become the social event of Liverpool's year, but it's also allowed the entrenchment of certain stereotypes about City's women. I mean, it's an outrage to me.
Well, I mean, they must know their business better than anybody else, and they must know their clientele better than anybody else.
It's
and maybe
an outrage.
maybe they feel there's a small minority of people who have messed it up for everybody else. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
I mean, it's dreadful. 150,000 people go to Aintree. 4,000 tickets have already been pre-booked for Ladies' Day at Aintree this year.
Right.
Not happening until another 2 months, is it? It's February,
April
March,
the 9th.
April. Oh, April the 9th, that's right.
We've already mentioned that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, now, coming up, I'm going to tell you about Shane Warne and what he said about evolution.
Shane Warne, evolution, right.
And also, we're going to talk to Monsieur Yaroshevsky about what's going on in Russia. This is Talk Sport.
The Form Zone on Talk Sport with Betfair. Listen to Talk Sport throughout the weekend for Betfair's experts' essential guide to all the latest form and odds as all the big teams face off. Everything you need to keep ahead of the game and make sure you know where the smart money is this weekend. Enter the Form Zone every weekend on Talk Sport with Betfair's ACCA Edge, giving you cash back on trebles and above on all sports and markets if one leg of your accumulator lets you down. Selected bets only. Full terms at betfair.com. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Life is exciting.
Life is rewarding.
Now imagine your life enhanced with boundless opportunities.
A life where elite training gives you the edge.
Where travel and adventure are yours for the taking.
With roles from anti-piracy to counterintelligence. This is a life where you can realise your potential.
A life where you can make a difference.
All for as little as 24 fully paid days a year. Experience our way of life at Royal Naval Reserve Live. To find out about events in your area, search Navy Reserves.
Oh, what did I do last night?
By the powers vested in me by the Wedu Quick Chapel, Barry Island, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Oh, all right, lover. Oh, I'd give it 10 minutes if I were you.
Oh, no.
Everybody makes mistakes, but if you've been convicted of a driving offence or have been banned from driving, at MCE Insurance, we don't judge. For car, van or motorcycle insurance, visit mceinsurance.com today and put your past behind you. MCE Insurance, title sponsor of the MCE British Superbikes.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with the new Ford Ranger. It's the breakfast show that's always ready to take on any challenge.
Join me, Alan Brazil, and a different co-host every weekday morning from 6 a.m. as we tackle all the big stories of the day.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on Talk Sport with the new Ford Ranger. Ruthlessly tested across the harshest terrain on Earth. Find out more at ford.co.uk. Talk Sport.
Just got even better.
Start up the engines. On DAB, digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Set the pace.
Working hard, playing hard.
And pigs will fly.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up in the next hour, it's winners and losers, of course. But we're going to talk now about a story that happened over the course of the weekend. Nikita Kamayev, I think that's the right pronunciation, who's the former head of Russia's anti-doping agency, died from a massive heart attack over the weekend. Right, he resigned his post following the doping scandal, which has been surrounding Russian athletics since about November. Rusada said that he will remain in our memories as an experienced and understanding leader, distinguished by his high professionalism. But his death comes just 2 weeks after that of the Rusada founding chairman, another gentleman by the name of Vyacheslav Sinev, I think. So let's talk to Alexei Yaroshevsky, a man who might be able to shed some light on some of the stories and the rumours that are going around about these two rather surprising and untimely deaths. Alexei, very good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Hi there.
Now, this scandal surrounding Russian athletics is still kind of going on, isn't it? I mean, there's some talk that the World Olympics body may ban them from taking part in the Rio Olympics. What do you make of these two recent deaths of these guys from USADA?
Well, I mean, it's a very murky story, and I'm afraid at this point it's really hard to establish anything truthful about it. But the fact of the matter is that it's the second time that a person connected to Rusada, the Russian anti-doping agency, dies in a matter of just 12 days. As mentioned, Vyacheslav Sinev died on February 5th.
Oh, dear.
And we got a bad line. We got a bad line here. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Sorry for that. Anyway, Vyacheslav Sinev, the founding father of the organization of Rusada, the anti-doping agency, died just 12 days ago, and now it's the man who chaired the organization since 2010, Nikita Kamayev, also died over the weekend. Well, in the first case, which adds a lot of mystery to the story, in the case of Vyacheslav Sinev, the cause of his death has not been officially revealed. And this time, it's not also been confirmed officially that Nikita Kamayev died from a heart attack. Moreover, one of his close friends and colleagues, Mr. Habriev, also the former general director of Rusada, said that he never complained about any heart problems in his life, and having come back from a skiing trip, he told his family that he had some heart pain and just died instantly. So it's really hard to make out what happened there, the coincidence, if it is because the organization obviously in a large extent under fire.
Yeah. It's an astonishing story. Let's just try and get a slightly better line, Alexei. Mike, while you ask him another question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alexei, my view is that there's a huge conspiracy theory going on here, and it's one of another mounting conspiracy theories against the Russian state. It seems that, because Mr. Putin's in charge, everybody feels it's OK to go around accusing Mr. Putin of going around knocking people off who don't agree with him.
Are you saying that Putin's nothing near this, nothing to do with this?
Well, there's no suggestion he is there?
Well, let's ask Alexei. Alexei, Mike says that it's fair game for everyone to blame Vladimir Putin for everything that happens in Russia.
Well, it's pretty much an easy game to blame Vladimir Putin for anything, and that has been, the long-going thing for most of especially when it comes to the Western media. But I don't think, it's really hard to imagine that Putin has anything to do with either of those deaths.
Exactly.
It's just absurd to imagine this kind of thing happening because, I mean, of course, this is a huge scandal for Russia, and the stake of, the Olympics team is on the line.
Yeah.
If Russian athletic team is banned from Rio 16, this is going to be a huge blow to sports in the country in general.
Sure.
But imagining that, those two deaths could be an orchestrated murder and assassination, I mean, this is just too far-fetched to my mind.
But hang on, it's not too far-fetched, because when we were talking only a couple of weeks ago about the investigation into the death of Alexander Litvinenko, it was said from those who know the way things work in Moscow that nothing happens in, many, many circles around international events without Vladimir Putin knowing about it.
But the report also said there was no evidence to link the deaths to Mr. Putin directly. And, I mean, he can't help it if, some of the agencies in Russia go their own way. We know that the MI6 and MI5 in this country do the same. I mean, what I'm saying...
You're just an apologist.
No. What I'm saying here is, Alexei, is that Mr. Putin seems to take the blame for everything. Some chap who just happened to be walking past the Kremlin, who was attacked and killed, Mr. Putin must be responsible. Does that mean that somebody walking past the Bank of England in London, who suddenly gets attacked and mugged, the Bank of...
Are you talking about the journalist who was shot in the head?
Yes, I am. The governor of the Bank of England is responsible.
And the CCTV cameras were switched off on the bridge where they're never switched off.
Well, I mean,
is that what you're talking about?
I'm sure Mr. Putin doesn't organise CCTV cameras. I mean, the point is, Alexei, you may or may not know that I have a very serious heart condition. Only 1/3 of my heart works, and that anybody can die of a dodgy heart at any time. You can't induce people's hearts to suddenly stop working. These, sadly, were tragic deaths.
I absolutely agree with you in the sense that this looks like just a bad coincidence that two leaders or two members of the same organization, under fire organization, involved in a lot of scandal over the past 6 or 7 months, or even a year, rather. They die within 12 days of each other.
You think
it's just bad timing, nothing more than that.
You think it's a coincidence?
I think it's a bad timing and a coincidence, absolutely.
I mean, coincidence as well.
Well, Go on,
sorry, guys. The family of the man who died over the weekend, they said that he came back home and said that his heart was not feeling all right.
Yeah.
And then he just collapsed. There are no indication that he was poisoned or anything like that.
No.
So,
well, have they done an autopsy yet to see whether that's the case?
Well, they will have done on the first chap.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking Alexei.
It's been too early, but it's almost confirmed that it was related to heart, like a large heart attack.
Yeah,
but
it's possible to induce. It's possible to induce a heart attack in someone, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you're getting into fanciful theories now. You're into fanciful theories. I mean, the point what I'm saying here is, Alexei, is that Russia would have to be a rogue state on a massive scale to go around murdering people in quick succession from the same organisations. Pretty soon the world would say, hang on, this looks to me like state-sponsored assassinations, and it's a ludicrous theory.
Absolutely. I mean, Russia is not a rogue state, and let's leave that to conspiracy theorists, and all those, because they have a field day connecting to murders and to the whole situation with the Russian doping agency and all that. But, look at these people, both of them, and I would say probably the entire organization, they have been under immense stress over the last year.
Exactly.
And if the person's heart fails up on him, you can understand that in the case
they haven't just been under immense stress, Alexei. They've been under investigation, and one of the things that's been so far proven is that basically they were involved very heavily in ensuring that they did what the International Olympic Committees had told them not to do, which was not only to use doping to try and get some of their athletes to win more medals and win more competitions.
No, this is the anti-doping agency.
Yeah,
remember,
I know.
Right?
Yeah, but this is the anti-doping agency.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a doping agency, do they?
No, this is the anti-doping agency.
But these are the people
whose work.
No, these are the people who were also interfering with samples as they were coming back from testing.
They were managing samples.
No,
right?
hang on.
That was their job.
Alexei, they were accused, were they not, of actually tampering with samples?
Yeah, this is one of the accusations, and I think it was the most serious accusation of all, that they tampered with the samples and thus obviously created the environment under which most of the athletes had been doped. And especially after the documentary, the German documentary came out with almost direct and blunt accusations that most of the athletes in Russia had been doped. It's hard to say whether that was true, but obviously the accusations that they tampered with the evidence was with the samples of the blood and all that were the most severe ones. And if they were proven guilty, then the whole sport in Russia would just go down the drain.
Sure. I mean, Alexei, do you agree with me?
I don't know why you keep apologising for Russia.
Excuse me. I've had my eye on Russia for 20 years now. We set up a bureau.
They've had their eye on you.
When I worked at the Daily Express, we set up a bureau in communist Russia before the wall fell, so I know a little bit about the background to it all. I just think that Mr. Putin has become the fall guy for every conspiracy theory in the world just because Mr. Putin decided that Russia had lost all its prestige in the world and he was determined to rebuild that prestige and put Russia back on the plane of a superpower. You can't surely criticise him for that and start accusing him of being the criminal in every criminal conspiracy that happens inside Russia.
Well, that's the language I've been hearing a lot about him. I mean, let's be honest. Putin is not a saint, and none of the world leaders is. But he has his downsides, he has his upsides. But to my mind,
his downside's a little scarier than David Cameron's, don't you think?
Well, they are scary to a lot of people in the Western world, but, to many people in Russia, that's actually a great advantage, that they're scared of him in a way. So I cannot say for the whole 140 million people in Russia, but I can say for myself that even contemplating and thinking that Putin could be involved in something like many of the conspiracy theorists have been alleging in this particular case is just ludicrous because you cannot just sort of attribute anything bad which happens in Russia or in the world to one man.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And
so hang on, all right. Well,
one man couldn't do it anyway.
You were the one who introduced the name Vladimir Putin, right?
Yes.
I did not suggest that Vladimir Putin ordered this.
You're always suggesting it. You're always suggesting it.
All I said was that these two deaths in such quite close succession, involving two men who were very closely associated with an agency that's been accused of wrongdoing, strikes me as a bit more than a coincidence.
And then you said said nothing happens in Russia unless Mr. Putin authorises it.
No, I said that was what was said by those who understand the way things work.
You quoted that as part of your argument.
That's right.
You dumb cough.
So, Alexei, let me put this to you. If you don't think that that this is in any way anything other than a coincidence, what do you think will happen next? I mean, is it likely that there's another person who might be being put under stress or who might be being questioned who might suddenly die as well?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as predicting anybody's death, obviously, but it's really hard to understand what's going on next because the organization, which is already pretty much down the drain and to a large respect, is now beheaded. It doesn't have a leader anymore. It doesn't have the director. So obviously they will try to find a new guy to run it. Probably it's going to be the person I already quoted who used to run it before because he was an effective manager.
Yes.
We'll see what happens. But first of all, I mean, we need to understand the cause of death, and particularly when it comes to the cause of death of the first guy who died 12 days ago, because this is something sparking and fueling the whole controversy and, creating all those crazy theories because his cause of death has not yet been revealed. That's the only thing which sort of is very concerning right now.
It is, Alexei. Thank you very much indeed. We've got to leave it there. I'm sure there'll be people lining up around the corner to take this job because you never know what might happen in modern Russia. This is Talk Sport.
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport.
Come on!
Kicking off tonight from 7 with full match commentary of Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
It's a goal!
Followed tomorrow night from 7 by Roma versus Real Madrid.
With a beautiful volley! What a goal!
UEFA Champions League football live on Talk Sport with Direct Line Van Insurance. For de facto 5-star rated van insurance, search Direct Line.
The two mics coming up in the next hour. It's time for winners and losers. Porky's already declared that he's got the best ones yet.
I think so.
We'll hear all about that.
Yeah.
A couple of tweets for you. One from Kevin, who says, I've got a feeling, MG, that when Leicester flounders, we will come back to this day and salute your intuition. He's talking about my remarks about Mr. Vardy.
Right.
And Johnny says, I must admit, Vardy has surprised me with all the flashing of the cash. Mike Graham has spotted the first sign of a change in Vardy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting indeed.
Damien says, on the subject of complaining, I believe that unless you pay for a service, you have no right to complain.
Our work, you see what I mean? It's not like we're providing a bus service to get you to the shops or something like that. If the bus is late, you complain.
Right.
I can see the sensibility in that.
Yeah, right.
But to complain about our podcast is to be denying an art, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm trying to get
you don't
to
seem too interested in
no,
this.
I'm not. We've moved on from that because I want to read you these.
Right.
John says, I see Mike Parry or Mikhail Paryovsky to his friends in the Kremlin is still towing the Communist Party line.
Not at all.
Marcus says, if I did not know any better, I'd say that last caller was Porky's handler.
No.
And Kevin says, something I can't quite read out, but Alexei there was not exactly comfortable talking to Mike Graham and Mike Parry in case he's next to get the dum-dum.
Well, I mean...
Hashtag Vlad the Impaler.
I think you've got to be very careful as to how you position yourself in Russian politics because it is a severe country. I have no doubt about that. But the problem is...
Go on. Oh, we've got to go.
I'm not a commie.
Drive, she said. I'll tell you when to stop.
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff on Talk Sport.
To the drive-mobile, Goffy. Let's go.
Drive Time Sports Radio with a dual injection presenter system to maximise combustion instability.
Hang on a second. Let me finish the point. You're misunderstanding why I've got an issue with it.
The Yorkshire Sound and the Ginger Fury. Masters of Drive Time Radio. Adrian Durham and Darren Goff. This afternoon from 4.
Eat, sleep, listen, repeat.
On Talk Sport. On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The two mics on Talk Sport.
IROMG or at Mike Parry 8. Julian says this, careful MG, you might end up like Georgy Markov coming out of TalkSport Towers. They've been knocking people off for centuries.
Yeah.
Jeff says, do you want a leader who loves their country or hates their country? A man or a mummy's boy? Think about it.
Yeah, well, you see, there you go. I mean, all I'm saying is he sticks up for Mother Russia. I mean, Russia's a magnificent country. The architecture's brilliant. The history, the Romanovs
well, we've already had this conversation.
That I did the quiz on, just a couple of weeks ago and got record score. I mean, that's all to be it's all to be considered. Cilla Black's will was published yesterday.
Oh, was it? Were you in it?
How much do you think? No. How much do you think she left?
Oh, I would say tens of millions, I would say. No. 35 million?
No, 15.4.
15.4?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, it's 15.2, actually, I've got it. So that's not bad.
You've got some more conspiracy theorists on your side here.
Yeah.
His thing from Anonymous, he calls himself Anonymous.
Yes.
Right? Totally agree with Porky regarding Putin. Well done, Porky. MG has an agenda against Russia, just like Sky News.
See, what I don't understand is when people say to me, oh, you're a latent communist, there aren't any communists left in Russia. The communists are gone. Don't people understand this? Mr. Putin is not a communist.
I haven't heard anyone accuse you of being a communist.
Yeah, they do. Oh, you're a commie. You like the Russians. Comrade Parisky and all that kind of stuff.
Independence from what was the former Soviet Union.
Not all of it did.
Well, not all of it did. Yeah. No, not all the people in this country voted for David Cameron to be Prime Minister. But when you live in a democracy, unfortunately, you have to go with the majority.
Yeah, okay, to
That's
a certain
just
extent.
Life.
But
what do you mean to a certain extent?
Well, what I'd say is those who didn't vote for David Cameron don't suddenly live in Devon and Cornwall and therefore will say, oh, OK, well, they so hate this country, we give them back to France or America or something like that. That's the issue in Russia and Ukraine. But anyway, it's a very political, geopolitical situation.
Why don't you let me tell you about Shane Warne, right?
Yeah, good idea.
Shane Warne, a man who is never very far from controversy. Yeah. By the way, apparently he's had to shut down his foundation because the Shane Warne Foundation is being investigated by the Victorian state government because of the way it was spending money and reporting to authorities. To wit, apparently, a raffle was held by the foundation to give away a car for $60,000.
Yep.
Guess who won?
Would it be somebody related to or associated with Shane Warne?
It was a former long-time personal assistant, Helen Nolan, who used to be former general manager of the same foundation. She got the car. Anyway, he's on some reality TV show, apparently, in Australia at the moment.
Yes.
And he was talking about evolution the other day.
Really?
Right? It's the Australian series of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And basically what he said was, if we've evolved from monkeys, then why haven't those monkeys evolved as well? And then he said, I'm telling you, I think because it's aliens. We started from aliens. And basically what he says is he thinks that that somehow aliens got involved with early sort of establishments.
This Men in Black stuff.
Civilizations. Well, what he's saying is he believes that aliens came and kind of, somehow made it possible for humans to evolve from monkeys.
Right.
But that was why they evolved from monkeys. That was the only way it could have happened.
Yeah, I think that's all a bit of... that's gobbledygook, that, to me. I'm sorry.
So you don't go along with that?
Well, I don't know why Shane Warne gets involved in those sort of things. He's the world's greatest ever bowler, right?
Yeah.
Correct? Correcto?
Well, you're certainly one of them.
Yeah, well, I'd say the world's greatest ever bowler. He holds all the records and seems really unique. He's now got an ability to earn a terrific living, from the God-given talent that he had.
Yeah.
He's had tremendous success with, interpersonal relationships with people like Liz Hurley and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he suddenly branches out into the philosophical beginnings of the earth. I'm not sure about that.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
How about this from Derek in Pencoed,
yes.
Who says this? Mike, if Porky's the expert like he claims to be on the subjects he gets quizzed on, he would even know the most obscure fact. He should change his name to Noah Nothing.
Noah Nothing?
Because that's what he knows.
Who's that from? Is that from
Derek in Pencoed.
That's from the bog cleaner, is it?
He's a cleaner.
Yes, yeah.
He's a cleaner. I don't think it should be disparaging of him.
I'm not being disparaging.
Well, you are. You're suggesting that because he's a cleaner, somehow he's not as good as you.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Well, I think you are.
See, after 20 years, he gets a brush, doesn't he, for this cleaning job?
Yeah, very old ones are the best ones. How about this one from Ben? It says, Porky claims he's man of the people and not a snob, yet he mocks his colleague because he imagines that MG's house may overlook a council house.
Yeah, well,
Porky, you are a snob, an extreme one at that, and an awful hypocrite to boot for denying it.
Well, hang on, for goodness sake, what am I supposed to say? MG's house overlooks a social housing development. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Well, if you knew anything about London, you would know that because of the way that social sort of change has happened, is that almost everybody's house overlooks some kind of council estate because that's the way it was all planned.
Well, mine doesn't.
Yeah, you don't live in London.
Well, I do, actually, in the sense that I live on the London-Surrey border,
you live in the bourgeois
so
suburban part of what is called Greater London.
No, I don't. No, I live in Surrey. But, down in Stockbroker Belt, we don't have that sort of problem. Now, you and I were talking about James Bond earlier on.
We were, yeah.
I've seen it.
I can't find this James Bond thing. Have you found the...
Mr. Goldfinger?
Have you found the thing?
I present it to you.
Oh, you have?
How about that?
Oh, OK.
Now, you see, the thing is, this is a report.
No, that's the thing about Daniel Craig.
Yeah, that's what I said to you.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well, I was talking to you about it. I said to you, do you think he's going to quit the Bond films? And there's a speculative piece here that says he might.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's all right. Who would be your next James Bond?
Well, a lot of people think it should be Idris Elba, don't they?
Yes.
Which is not a bad shout.
Well, he's just had a bit of bad publicity, hasn't he?
Why?
It is alleged that he's maybe parted from his latest partner in life.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Well, they've just had a child, I think. And some people think that it may be a little stressful for those involved, or whatever. Right. But no, it's his life and he must get on with it.
Well, hang on. Why is it bad publicity to split up with your partner? How is that bad publicity?
Well, because...
Might be good publicity if he's going to be James Bond.
Well, no,
what James Bond would do.
No, the insinuation is that he's reverting to a... What should I say? A sort of single man's type life, a dilettante type existence.
Yeah, look, I found it. There's the car that you could get.
Oh, yeah?
Aston Martin DB10.
That's a pretty smashing car, that. How much do you have to pay for that?
Let's see. I'll try and find it for you. I would imagine it would be...
Hundreds of thousands, at least. At least hundreds of thousands, if not in the millions. You know
it's going to be a lot of money. A plaque signed by Daniel Craig is expected to reach up to $2.1 million.
What?
You could get an Amiga Seamaster 300 watch. You like watches, even though all your watches look pretty cheap and nasty.
Oh, yeah, including my Rolex, yeah?
Well, I've never seen your Rolex.
What do you mean you've never seen my Rolex? Of course you've seen it.
It's probably a fake one.
Don't be ridiculous.
Well, how much do you think you get an Amiga Seamaster from?
An Amiga Seamaster?
It was worn by Daniel Craig, yeah.
30 grand.
Yeah, 30 grand, very good. 29,000.
Thank you very much indeed.
A two-piece dinner suit.
I know my watches.
Mind you wouldn't be able to wear this because it would be a bit small for you. It's expected to sell for up to 43,000.
Well, he is a bit of a midget, isn't he, Daniel Craig?
You think Daniel Craig's a midget?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And how tall are you?
Me, 5'9.5".
That's an extraordinary number, that 9.5.
Yeah.
So your shoe size is 9.5.
Yes.
And you claim you're 5'9.5.
Yes, that's right, yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes, yeah. How tall is Daniel Craig?
Daniel Craig is probably 5'6" at best.
5'6"?
I would say so.
You sure?
He's pretty small.
I don't think we should have secret agents who are that tiny.
Why not?
Have midgets for secret agents.
He can get in and out of small spaces very easily, though.
Well, I suppose he can.
Also, he's not a real secret agent.
And I suppose he could kill you with his left-hand index finger, couldn't he?
Well, he could, yeah.
If he was that talented.
He could.
Yeah.
It doesn't say how much the DB10 is going to go for, but I would imagine you'd be looking at several hundred thousand.
Hundreds of thousands, if not into the million
factor.
Very
possibly.
They sold a Ferrari last week, didn't they, for about 9.8 million.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that wasn't a James Bond film.
No, it wasn't, no, but it was a very rare one.
I bet, yeah. This is Talk Sport, more coming up.
Life is exciting.
Life is rewarding.
Now imagine your life enhanced with boundless opportunities.
A life where elite training gives you the edge.
Where travel and adventure are yours for the taking.
With roles from anti-piracy to counterintelligence. This is a life where you can realise your potential.
A life where you can make a difference.
All for as little as 24 fully paid days a year. Experience our way of life at Royal Naval Reserve Live. To find out about events in your area, search Navy Reserves.
If you fancy a flutter on the football, a gamble on the golf, a double on the darts, or a treble on the tennis, you're in luck. Get closer to the action every weekend with Betway's Man in the Know on the Weekend Sports Breakfast with Georgie Bingham and Mickey Quinn. Bringing you all the form on the football, the going at Goodwood, the tries at Twickenham, and the overs at the Oval. Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on TalkSport with Betway. Bet now at betway.com.
Hawksby and Jacobs.
We've all worked with people we don't necessarily think, we'd want to go on holiday with.
This afternoon from 1.
You're trying to tell me something.
Talk yourself up for the part. You can be the next James Bond.
No, don't be ridiculous.
You're more like Odd Job.
No, I don't think so. I'd make a pretty good villain, though.
Hey, by the way, I must say, over the weekend, and I found myself watching it as well, Vera was on, right?
Vera, yes.
You've obviously spoken about it quite a bit in Porky Vision, even though you don't like it. I'll tell you, it is very slow.
Well, now, come on, Pet. Just tell us where you buried that body.
It's exactly right, that,
It's obvious you've had a row. Did you fall out over a cup of tea or something like that? And did you decide you had enough of your husband? So you whacked him over the head with the kettle, and then you took him down the garden, you buried him in the bottom of the garden, then you went to the pub and had a gin and tonic. Is that what happened, Pet?
That's exactly like her.
Thank
but
you.
The thing was that on Sunday night there were loads of people tweeting that they were watching Vera but couldn't get out of their heads your impersonation of the woman, right? And in fact, I was doing the same thing. And it was, it does a very slow moving show.
Oh God! And she speaks slowly, she moves slowly. She wafted around in a big flowery overcoat with a ridiculous sort of floppy hat on. She looks less like a police woman than, I don't know, PC Plodess from a cartoon show or something like that. Honestly, I think it's...
I mean, there's been plenty of people on TV who play television detectives who don't look anything like real police officers.
Well, I don't agree, because at least Columbo, who doesn't look like a police officer...
Well, she's meant to be the female Columbo, isn't she?
Well, I suppose so, but at least his genius comes out...
Cagney and Lacey didn't look much like coppers either.
Well, I think they did. I mean, they were two, like... what's the American...
It might be turned into a midweek tournament in a dramatic shake-up. Now, who's responsible for this?
Well, what they say top brass from the FA and the Premier League have held talks in a bid to ease the fixture congestion. I'm not sure about this fixture congestion, I mean, if you want to be successful, you've got to play more games. So clubs that moan that, we're in the Champions League, you've got to remember that all the big clubs wanted the Champions League expanded from being what it used to be, a knockout European Cup, into the Champions League.
There's only 4 and sometimes less than that teams playing in the second part of the Champions League, which begins obviously later on tonight.
That's right.
We've got live commentary of PSG against Chelsea.
Absolutely.
I mean, not every year are there 4 English teams still playing in that.
Well, there's only 3 now, isn't there? United are out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think that's the problem. What they're saying the problem is the replays in the FA Cup. We saw Liverpool struggling in January, didn't we? Because they had to play something ridiculous like 4 games inside 7 or 8 days.
Sure.
And other teams have got that problem.
Yeah.
What do you mean,
No, I'm agreeing with you there, but I tend to agree a bit with old... the traditionalists. I love the FA Cup, and I.
Yeah, but it's eating up too much time, and it doesn't make much money, and I think that's the basic problem.
It's the second thing that you said that is the pertinent factor. It doesn't make much money. It doesn't make much money because the FA haven't got much money. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Premier League have got fantastic money because they sell the rights to TV for billions, literally billions of pounds.
Yeah, but there's a reason why the FA Cup isn't worth that kind of money. And as much as it's a very romantic competition, and you might get the odd giant killing here and there, there is not the same world market that there is for Premier League football.
Well, also, remember, it only starts in January, and there's only 6...
What do you mean it only starts in January?
Well, proper third round. Nobody pays any TV rights in the first 2 rounds.
Oh, you love the FA Cup, but you don't like the first 2 rounds, which is all about grassroots football.
I'm talking about where the money's generated.
Well, no, but surely the whole point of the FA Cup is that it gives the opportunity to clubs from lower divisions and for non-league clubs as well to get involved.
Yeah, but if Burton were playing Chester in the first or second round, right?
Yeah.
That's Chester who are in the Vanarama National Conference and Burton who are in the, second?
Well, Burton are doing all right, actually, aren't they?
Yeah, doing all right with Nigel Clough.
They're about to get promoted, aren't they?
Yeah. If they're playing, what they would get as TV revenue... and an offer from whoever was sponsoring it that year or paying for it, the BBC. I think the deal at the moment's BT and BBC, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, would be a 100th of what you'd get for a key Premier League, a key Champions League game.
But that's not the issue.
It is the issue. It is the issue. It's all about money.
No, because there isn't enough money in the competition anyway, right?
Yeah.
So let's not talk about the money. Let's talk about whether you think the competition should exist. And if the competition should exist, then surely it can exist in all sorts of different ways.
Well, it can only exist with the will of the clubs that take part in it. And if the will of the clubs to take part in it is that we've got actually other priorities, there's nothing you can do to change that view. The only thing you can do is to find a way to make it so attractive to the clubs that they put major resources into it and it becomes a major competition again.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. So you have to either accept that it might become a midweek competition, you have to accept that replays will no longer be allowed, and you might prefer that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we were going down to Bournemouth Everton, would you not rather there was a result?
Well, I'd rather Everton drew rather than lost. So if you're telling me, would you settle for a result on the day which is negative to Everton or a replay, I'd say replay, obviously.
Yeah, you would. But, I mean, the point is that what I'm saying is that what if there was just one game and there was no room for a replay? That's my point. That's what they're suggesting.
I'm not totally against that.
Right.
Particularly if you.
Because I think in this day and age, that's what's killing the cup. Because I think if it was just one game, I know people would argue that it's not fair to have. Only one game at the away, ground.
As the point was made earlier, if it was Manchester United Exeter, which happened a couple of seasons ago, didn't it?
Yeah.
And Exeter get a draw at home, then their big payday, which would keep them going for 3 years, is to go back to Old Trafford, because the way the money's divided in a cup competition...
They get half or something, don't they?
They get third. 1/3 to the home team, 1/3 to the away team, 1/3 to the FA.
Well, they get a half of what the teams get.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Whereas on normal Premier League visitation, it's 10% or something like that.
Right.
And that's why, Manchester United only have to give away 10% of their massive gate of 67,000.
But don't you find that, two-legged affairs now, particularly in any cup competition,
League Cup semi-final,
there just isn't really the appetite for
I agree with that. I agree. It was pretty ludicrous to me when, Everton got to the semi-final of the League Cup and we played the first leg of Goodison and won 2-1. They had to wait 3 weeks then to retain that momentum.
Right. That should have been enough. For me, they should have just gone, right, Everton are in the final.
Yeah, that's it. I agree. I totally agree. And it's just the luck of the draw, whether you get drawn at home right or go on, play it on a neutral ground. If it had been, in the case of Everton and Manchester City, you could easily have played it at, I don't know, Blackburn or Burnley, or you'd want a big ground for a big club. You'd play at Old Trafford, I suppose. Yeah. Or you'd play at Anfield, but... I think that's got to be a bit of a rethink there. They don't need 2 games to get through to a Wednesday final.
Inevitably, I think this will happen because of the money, as you say. There's no money around for it. There's no TV interest in it, and so therefore it's probably doomed. Yes, it's better to keep it alive in some form.
Yeah, but the FA Cup's been on debate for 10 years now, ever since the Premier League started. When people the Champions League started, and people realised how much money was going to be available in that competition. Immediately, bang! The FA Cup went down, and it's such a pity because the one trophy in the world which I love to bits is the FA Cup. It's just such a beautiful trophy, and I've got some FA Cup final programmes from like the 50s and the early 60s, and on every year the only illustration on the front of the programme is of the FA Cup, right? Because it's such a beautiful trophy and it's so iconic. You know what I mean?
Now somebody sent me this picture saying this is Porky's favourite movie. You might recognise her. Do you recognise her?
Well, my favourite movie is Top Gun.
No, I know that, but that's not from Top Gun.
No, it's not from Top Gun. So who is that?
Think about your shoe size.
Shoe size?
That's the clue.
Shoe size?
Yeah.
9.5. 9.5. 9.5.
9.5 what?
Hours. What are you laughing at?
It's 9.5 weeks.
9.5 weeks, that's right. Yeah, I knew something like that.
I mean, you thought the name of the film was 9.5?
No. I knew.
Do you know who that is?
That is...
Go on.
Let me have a look again, please. That is a very attractive lady.
It is.
Hasn't got many clothes on. I don't know. Who is it?
9.5 weeks. Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger, of course.
Remember
it is.
Kim Basinger?
Oh, wonderful lady.
Yeah. There's a lot of what I can only describe as quite offensive things coming in about your height and your 9.5 shoe size.
Oh, really?
But I'm not going to read them out.
No,
because,
why should you?
We're trying to endeavour to get a more kind of collegiate spirit going.
Yeah, we don't want to be offensive, do we?
Winners and losers, as it's about to be upon us.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to actually encourage some of your Porky tribe to be slightly less offensive in some of their tweets that they send out. So it'd be good if you were encouraging them as well.
No. I think people are very warm towards me recently. It's only the feeble-minded who try to get funny, you know?
No, but I think what I'm saying is you should avoid sort of encouraging them to be, rude and impolite.
I'm not encouraging anybody to be rude and impolite, am I?
Well, you retweeted this from somebody whose Twitter handle is Vote Porky, vote often.
Yes.
He says, Porky tribe on high alert, Lord Porky, ready to assist in smashing the deadbeat MG and his loser MG cult.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think that's rather against the spirit of what we're trying to do?
No, I've just called that a bit of fighting talk, you know?
Really?
And just let you know in exactly what mental, what's the word I'm looking for? Mental fortitude I'm placing myself ahead of this competition, okay?
Well, the competition is about to get underway next on TalkSport.
The new Alan Brazil phone app.
It's a belter, this.
The Alan Brazil phone app is stuffed with essential features.
The important things in life. Bookies, bevy, breakfast show.
Organise your hundreds of weekly corporate hospitality events with a printable map you can hand directly to your driver.
Is that chopper no turned up yet?
A sat-nav-style map of hospitality tents at all leading race grounds. Plus, book tickets to your favourite 1970s variety acts and then spend the whole night in the bar anyway.
Yeah, get the drinks in.
The new Alan Brazil phone app.
Make an appointment with the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast this morning from 6 on Talk Sport.
Warning, alarm function is still under development and may fail. Frequently.
Sorry, boss, I can't get a signal. Bye!
Talk Sport, and of course it is time for everybody's favourite competition of the week, winners and losers. Mike Parry's 4-2 up at the moment, and still, of course, quite a few weeks to go until the end of the season. Now, last week you went first with your losers, I believe, so shall I go first with my losers this week?
Indeed.
Well, in fact, no, I think it was the other way around, actually. You should go first, yeah.
Right, I go first with the losers, okay?
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Your three losers.
My three losers, okay?
Yeah.
Right, the first one is Steve McLaren.
Yes.
Now, you may say that's a bit obvious.
No.
It's not obvious.
I wouldn't say that.
It's not obvious, and I'll tell you why. Because they had a mini revival, and now they've slumped back into a terrible dip, and they've lost 5-1 to Chelsea. But the real reason is for the ridiculous quote he made after the game.
Yeah.
He said, in that way, and he was grinning at the time, and I'll tell you, now we've got 12 FA Cup finals for the rest of this season. Now, that is the most stupid quote in football. Every game's a cup final for us now. Bearing in mind, after doing my research today, Newcastle have won 2 FA Cup ties in the last 9 years.
Right. That's
2.
not good, is it?
In the last 9 seasons, they've only ever won the third round twice, okay?
Yeah, right.
So to say they've got 12 cup finals now to face for the rest of the season means that it was a very bad analogy in a desperate situation, and he's clearly not on top of it, okay?
Yeah.
My second loser is Raheem Sterling.
Raheem Sterling?
Oh, absolutely. Now, as you all know, I said Raheem Sterling be lucky to score more than 5 Premier League goals this season.
You said he wouldn't score 5.
No, I didn't. I said he won't score more than 5.
No, you said he wouldn't score 5.
I said he won't score more than 5.
I've got the tweet.
And how many has he scored?
He scored 5, hasn't he?
He scored 5.
Yeah.
And I said he wouldn't score more than 5.
Right.
So it's not just that, but the fact that he was actually not paying attention to the game by jumping up and turning his back when a ball came over. I'm sorry, but although it's debatable as to whether or not it was a penalty, he gifted the opportunity to the opposition, to Spurs, to claim that penalty.
It's a bit hard to blame him for them losing to Spurs, though.
I'm sorry, but I do, because that was the goal that gave Spurs...
I think you're just picking on him.
I'm not. Harry Kane dispatched the penalty absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, it was Raheem Sterling not facing up to his job as a footballer and standing in front of that ball and saying, you've got to get past me. He then spun 180 degrees and neglected his responsibility to see what was going to happen to that ball.
I think it'd be very harsh.
No, consequently it hit him, and that gave Spurs the opportunity to claim for a penalty, which the referee, Mr. Clattenburg, I think it was, gave.
Okay.
I mean, in many ways, you could blame Mr. Clattenburg, but I'm blaming Raheem Sterling for presenting the opportunity to Spurs.
Okay.
And my third loser is RKC Volsvik.
Volsvik? Who he?
Of Holland. They're in Dutch Division 2.
Yeah.
In their last home game to Emmen, right, because it was played on St. Valentine's Day, they replaced their child mascots, which they normally lead out, with a load of ladies...
lingerie-clad.
Called models, who were lingerie-clad models, who walked out in a football shirt and extremely skimpy pairs of knickers.
I saw that.
It was quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was utterly ridiculous. I mean, look, everybody likes to see a sexy lady, but to parade them out onto a football pitch where 90% of the spectators are male, and to suddenly present them in really unappealing clothes.
Is this your attempt to make out that you're some kind of a feminist?
I could wear a T-shirt saying, you're looking at a feminist. I mean,
you could, yeah.
I thought it was terrible.
Nobody would believe you, though.
I thought it was terrible to parade those young ladies like that. It was embarrassing. It was insulting to the female race.
Right.
And what's more, it had no part in a game of football, Valentine's Day or not. They are my 3 losers.
Okay.
I commend them to the audience.
Right. Is that a spoof list or something? Is that your real list?
Of course it's my real list. You're stung now. You're stung because,
I'm not, actually.
Because of the strength of my losers.
No, I don't think I am.
Strength of my losers. Steve McLaren, Raheem Sterling, RKC Volsvik of Holland.
Yeah, I see. Well, my first loser of the week is Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ronnie O'Sullivan, who has been roundly now criticised, not just by fans, but by people who are massively in the game. Ali Carter, for example, who's battled both cancer and Crohn's disease, said he was disgusted with what Ronnie O'Sullivan did. And if those of you who don't know what he did, basically he refused point blank to make a 147 break, which would have been his 14th in professional snooker, because the £10,000 prize money was, in his words, too cheap. Right? He's the cheap one, because what he could have done is give the money to charity.
Well, I
and instead of
chosen that one, but I didn't.
Well, no, instead of doing that, even Barry Hearn described O'Sullivan's behaviour as unacceptable and disrespectful. So that makes him a massive loser in my eyes. The other loser of the week is Julian Lescott. We talked about him earlier. You know, this is a guy who played for Aston Villa at the weekend. Aston Villa have been described as the worst football team in the Premier League, even worse than Newcastle.
Yes.
The local paper tomorrow is coming out, today is coming out with a plea for Randy Lerner to sell the club. Please stop it because you're ruining it and the club may never recover and it might end up going down and down and down and down.
But
so
again,
Julian Lescott to have such disregard for his fans and the fans of a great football club by posting a picture of some very expensive flashy car is a massive loser. And my third loser is Kanye West.
Kanye West?
Do you know who Kanye West is?
He's an actor.
No, he's not an actor. He's a rapper.
A rapper?
Right.
All right, same thing.
And do you know what he did over the weekend?
No.
He's been tweeting out all sorts of mad stuff to try and promote his album. Right? He's now claiming that he's £53 million in debt.
Right.
And he sent a begging letter to Mark Zuckerberg, the head of Facebook, to say, please pray we overcome. This is my true heart. Please invest $1 billion into Kanye West's ideas. Can you please call me by tomorrow? I know it's your birthday. You love hip-hop. You love my art. I'm your favourite artist, but you watch me barely breathe and still play my album in your house. I mean, what a complete and utter loser.
Yeah, that's not a loser. That's a guy who's not off his rocker, I'm afraid, and you should, have sympathy with him.
No, this is a guy who is a complete and utter loser. Those are my three losers. Julian Lescott, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Kanye West. I'll be coming first with my winners now.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
Okay, I'm going to go first with my three winners of the week. Now, my first winner, you mentioned Mark Clattenburg. I'm going to say a referee, actually, for my winners this week. And it's Rob Madeley. This was in the Crystal Palace-Watford game. I don't know whether you managed to see that.
Yeah, I saw that.
But he gave a penalty, basically, very early on to Watford, to Troy Deeney, because he was being held and grasped and grappled in the penalty area during a corner by Jedinak, right? And basically, what I thought was, this is a great move by the referee, because this happens so much in football. We've often talked about it. And because of the fact that he gave that penalty, it meant that none of that ridiculous grappling went on for the rest of the game. And I thought it was a fantastic thing. As a result, Troy Deeney scored 2 goals as well, which was pretty good for him. But I just think more referees should take his lead.
Yeah, but the problem is you picked on a very isolated incident there.
Not at all.
The grappling goes on in the penalty area all the time.
Yeah, but I'm saying the point is that if people did what he did, if referees gave penalties in the very early stages of the game, it would stop.
Won't make a ha'porth of difference.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it will. My next winner of the weekend is Leo DeWatts. Any idea who that is?
No, neither does the rest of the millions of people who listen to us all the time.
Well, this is a guy that you would normally like, I would say.
Leo DeWatts.
Leo DeWatts is a former public schoolboy, right? So you'd like him immediately, right?
Yeah.
He's managed to start a business from Dorset. Right, where he's basically bottling air. And selling it to the Chinese for £80 a jar.
I think I've told you this story last week.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No.
I told you about people bottling air in Canada and selling it to the Chinese.
No, you didn't tell me anything about
this. Anyway, go on,
Anyway, this guy is from this country, right? And he's selling it to smog-plagued people in Beijing and Shanghai.
Okay.
Right? And he's basically putting bottles in specially adapted fishing nets and he's holding them aloft as they run through fields to harvest the product. He's clearly on a scam here, but he's making money, legitimately.
How can he be a winner if he's a scam?
Well, he's not. Well, no, because he's doing something completely legitimate. He's found a massive market in China for people who want to buy his air.
Okay.
The final winner of the weekend is Danny Welbeck.
Welbeck,
he's been out of football for a very long time.
Yes.
He's coming back into football just at the right time because he might end up playing in the Euros for Roy Hodgson. Scores the winning goal for Arsenal against Leicester, and you have to say he was probably the happiest footballer of the entire weekend.
I wasn't even sure he headed that ball,
Yeah, he did.
I think it just skimmed over his head.
Well, I didn't think
he changed direction of it.
It doesn't. Well, of course he did.
I didn't think he changed the direction.
If he hadn't touched it, it wouldn't have gone in, would it?
Well, I think it would have done.
You think it was going in from the corner?
Yeah, I do. I think the trajectory was...
really?
But anyway,
I think you must have been in some kind of coma this weekend.
Okay.
Those are my 3 winners.
All right. Well, I think they're pretty average, actually, and I think mine are going to blow your socks off and that of the audience, okay? And I'm going to give you them bang, 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 like this.
Bang, bang, bang?
They're all so good, I don't need to explain too much more, okay? My first winner of the week Sir Bobby Charlton, after it was announced today that the East Stand at Old Trafford will now be named after him. Right. What a tribute to a man
who I waited so long to do that.
Who I think we can genuinely say is England's greatest ever living footballer, OK? Greatest living footballer.
You may say that. I couldn't possibly argue.
I don't think many people would argue. Sir Bobby Charlton, the East Stand named after him.
I think one thing we could agree on is old Louis van Gaal's not going to get a stand named after him.
Louis van Gaal? No, he'll get a bog named after him somewhere down in Salford on the docks or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. That was
not
unnecessary.
Very nice,
That was unnecessary. So Sir Bobby Charlton, because the East Stand at Old Trafford is going to be named after him, and it's a fitting tribute to a man who we all hold in our hearts as the greatest memory that we have of 1966, really, although Geoff Hurst scored the hat-trick in the final. It was Bobby Charlton's goals in the quarters and the semis that got us through.
Yeah.
Anyway, my second winner, and this has gone against all the principles that I've spouted about this man over a number of years, I've got to give it to the Tottenham chairman, Daniel Levy.
Yes.
Because although I've criticised Mr. Levy consistently for making mistakes in appointing managers, for making mistakes in sanctioning money being spent on players who weren't up to it, he actually made a brilliant decision in appointing Pochettino, who is now on the brink of taking Spurs to their first league title since 1961. It was a very, very fine appointment, and considering I've given so much stick over the years, I feel I have to recognise that. And my third one is Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
And it's because of the way he took the penalty against
So when I was making
Arsenal.
Jamie Vardy a winner ages ago, and you said that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now it's not ridiculous.
Well, ages ago, I don't know what you're on about.
You just accused me of highlighting an isolated incident in a game.
All I can say is that the way he took that penalty, the sheer will with which he approached it, because, as we said earlier in this show, old Mahe, who'd taken penalties and missed two previously, Jamie Vardy said, no, leave it to me, I'll step up. It was the best penalty I've seen this season. It was precise, it was powerful, it gave the goalkeeper no chance. He took that penalty, and that set Leicester on the way until the sending off. They would have got those 3 points in my view.
That set Leicester on the way?
Yes.
So he's a winner even though the team lost?
Well, I'm sorry, he's a winner for having led them that far. And in addition to that, I want to say, I think it's a fine thing that he's decided now to actually show the world, I am up there with those strikers who have flash cars. I've now got a flash one, a 138k Bentley. I take my hat off to
160, I think.
To 168, yeah. To Jamie Vardy for placing himself within the ranks of the great strikers in this country in the space of less than a season.
Well, there goes the Porky jinx on Jamie Vardy. So I think my prediction will probably come true. That was winners and losers. Go to @the2mics and vote, please, either for me or for Mike Parry. Let's try and keep it fair.
Vote Porky.
Sport. Life is exciting.
Life is rewarding.
Now imagine your life enhanced with boundless opportunities.
A life where elite training gives you the edge.
Where travel and adventure are yours for the taking.
With roles from anti-piracy to counterintelligence. This is a life where you can realise your potential.
A life where you can make a difference.
All for as little as 24 fully paid days a year. Experience our way of life at Royal Naval Reserve Live. To find out about events in your area, search Navy Reserves.
Football to Amsterdam 2016 is a 2-day cycle challenge to help beat prostate cancer. Visit prostatecanceruk.org/Amsterdam to find out more.
Just when you thought it was safe to turn on the radio, here comes another round of Sounds Fantastic. Can you identify this sound? Well, that's a didgeridoo full of wombats playing their credit cards like wobble boards. Now, how about this sound?
Go compare.
Sounds like that fantastic website where you can check out a whole shed load of credit cards to make sure, subject to status and lending criteria, you get the one that's right for you.
From loans to plastic, they're quite fantastic. Nothing quite compares to Go Compare.
Sounds fantastic.
The Form Zone on Talk Sport with Betfair. This is Play. Listen to Talk Sport throughout the weekend for Betfair's experts' essential guide to all the latest form and odds as all the big teams face off. Everything you need to keep ahead of the game and make sure you know where the smart money is this weekend. Enter the Form Zone every weekend on Talk Sport with Betfair, where you can cash out in play on single or accumulator bets, so you can take your winnings before the end of the match. Selected markets, conditions apply. Gambleaware.co.uk.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Super opinionated oratory.
Give it a workout.
Talk Sport.
Place your head on my beating heart.
I'm thinking out loud. Maybe we found love right where we are. When my hair's all but gone and my memory fades.
You recognise that?
What?
Do you recognise that? Well, I'm sorry if I interrupted something.
No.
What do you mean, what?
Well, I was listening intently to recognise it. Is that Ed Sheeran?
It is.
Ed Sheeran singing.
The song we were talking about, he's won a Grammy for, Thinking Out Loud.
Thinking Out Loud, eh? Yeah, he must have heard me talking on Talk Sport, in my view.
Oh, he may have
and
done.
decided to think, that's a good title, and put it into his song.
Yeah, maybe you should sue him.
Sorry?
Maybe you should sue him.
No, I take it as a tribute that great minds think alike.
You take it as a tribute?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Uh-huh.
How's Ed Sheeran getting on, by the way?
How do you mean? Well, he's just won a Grammy, so he must be doing all right.
Excuse me, what do you hear Grammy for?
Well, for that song, I've just told you.
Oh, it's for that song?
Yeah.
I see. Doesn't sound a particularly great song to me.
It doesn't really,
Sounds a bit slow,
I'm
you know
not a
what I
massive
mean?
fan of Ed Sheeran,
I like
I must
slow
admit.
songs. Now, we had any early voting indications.
Yeah, I can give you an early indication. Only 56 votes cast so far.
Yeah.
The results at the moment are 71% to 29%.
What, in my favour?
No, in my favour.
Don't be ridiculous.
There
How
it
could
is.
that happen?
Oh, look, there it is.
Yeah.
71.
Well, hang on, who's gerrymandered this?
Well, nobody has. There's only 56 votes. A long way to go.
Mine were brilliant.
Well, not according to everyone.
Well, I thought they were.
Here's one from Blowave, who says, I always vote Porky, but Mike, those were rubbish.
What do you mean? Come on, Daniel Levy, who's chairman of the club that could possibly win the Premier League, right? Who else did I...
Paul says this, Porky only picked Sterling as a loser because he hasn't got the over the line incident.
No.
MG gets my vote.
No. What about my winners? My winners were superb. Bobby Charlton, greatest living English footballer.
Yeah, but hang on, you got it wrong, says Danny. It's the South Stand, Porky. He
South
says.
Stand.
Definitely an MG vote, far better choices, and he gets them right.
I think it was the East Stand, actually.
Well, he's saying it's the South Stand.
OK, well, I'll take your word for that, but I'll double-check
Johnny
that.
says, easy decision for MG this week. Great picks.
Yeah? What do you mean great picks? Yours were rubbish.
And Roy has sent a picture out of these women who came out on the field for that Dutch team you were talking about. And he says, these are losers. How clueless can you be?
I said they were losers. That's why I nominated that club as losers.
He's disagreeing with you because he's sexistly put the picture up. Is Andy saying, sorry, Porky, your winners are lame this week?
No.
Paul says, Porky, your picks this week are as bad as your football club.
No, this is all rubbish. Where are the ones that say I've done it great?
William says, MG, you have surpassed yourself with your picks for winners and losers. Easily the best this week. I'll have to vote for you this week.
For who?
For me.
Well, this is all rubbish.
Sesh says, voting Mike Graham with his Lescott loser.
What? Look at this here.
Well, do you remember my Lescott loser?
Lescott loser?
Yeah.
This
You
one
know
here.
what I'm talking about, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. The problem is you just want to be populist. You just want to be populist.
I just want to be populist.
Yeah, I just take on the big issues. This is from Woodenhead, OK?
Yeah.
And he says, I was going to vote Porky this week, but his cheap attempt at appealing to the feminists is his downfall. What do you mean cheap attempt?
Yeah, you see, that's the trouble.
Just because I respect women, just because I'm not a misogynist, eh?
A misogynist?
Yeah. And
you
I
can't even say the word.
And I get attacked for it.
People are beginning to see through your tactics. I think that's what we're seeing here.
I vote MG because Lescott is a joke. He left EFC for money. Now he's proven he's a greedy footballer. I like all these. I'm getting rather...
Milty says this. Ed Sheeran has just won a Grammy for his song Thinking Out Loud. Yeah. He's got ginger hair and he looks like a young Porky. Time for you to confess.
Well, there you go.
Are you his long-lost father, I think is the question.
OK. I want to appeal
what do you mean, right, OK?
I want to appeal to the Porky tribe out there, please. Can you please get busy? Because there's a massive imbalance in the numbers who are voting at the moment.
Say in the force there for a minute.
No, and particularly those who should be voting for me, OK? I don't like it very much.
John says, nice to see Porky keeping up his scraping the bottom of the barrel way to choose his winners and losers.
Like how?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they just seemed particularly bad, that was all.
What do you mean particularly bad?
They did, even for you, they seemed particularly bad.
It's absolutely crazy.
111 votes now cast, 73-27.
Yeah, well, that'll soon change.
So
don't worry.
The gap's actually getting bigger.
Don't worry. I mean, perhaps it's because I haven't put out my anthem. Vote Porky, vote often.
You see, I asked you not to do that.
Just to remind people,
you've now reverted. We're trying to keep it fair, right?
Yeah, it is fair.
By the way, we were asked earlier, and we haven't done it, to make a mention of that Leeds United protest last night. Did you see that?
Leeds United protest last night, I did. They put they flashed all the signs onto the main stand and try to embarrass the owner.
Trying to get rid of old Cellini.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen, is it?
Mind you, he's trying to get money back, isn't he, from the TV deal, so it's not all bad. Now, listen, I mentioned this to you earlier, and I've got to now give give the information out to our millions of listeners.
What's that?
The chocolate shortage.
Yes.
When did I predict the chocolate shortage? 2 years ago, at least.
No, I don't think it was 2 years ago. I think it was probably last year. I mean, 2 years ago, I would say it was 2 Christmases ago that you predicted the Ferrero Rocher shortage.
Yes.
Which turned out to be something to do with nuts, which turned out not to be the case.
No, but I knew that chocolate was involved. Because, you see, because I am able to read my journals, the economic journals, I predicted a shortage of the cocoa bean 2 years ago.
I don't think it was 2 years ago.
It was. Now,
but I'll give you credit for mentioning it.
Thank you. Now, let me read you the latest report in a detailed financial journal. A worldwide chocolate shortage is looming because farmers are struggling to meet rising demands for cocoa. This is exactly what I predicted, that cocoa trees would soon not be able to meet demand. The key ingredients production is slowing due to poor growing methods.
Poor growing methods?
Yeah. Cocoa demand will soon hit an all-time high.
How many growing methods are there?
Well, improved farming and agricultural methods, OK? So cocoa demand will soon hit an all-time high as developing nations get the taste for chocolate. The fact that it was Valentine's Day last weekend proved a point. A surge in demand has stretched resources and supplies. 10 cocoa trees are needed for 286 bars, which is the average number eaten by a Western consumer in a year.
So we use up 10 cocoa trees' fruit, if you like, in a year?
Yeah.
And how many cocoa trees are there in the world?
Not enough.
What do you mean, not enough?
Well,
any
not
idea?
Enough. Yeah.
There must be millions.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
But not enough.
There must be millions. So basically we need 10... One person needs 10 cocoa trees. And their fruit for the
10
for
cocoa
the year.
trees needed for 280 bars, the average number eaten by... Yes, 10 cocoa trees.
That's what I just said.
Right, so that means
that... the time, by the way.
For Britain alone, where there's 30 million chocolate-eating adults, you need 300 million cocoa trees.
And you're not one of them, of course, are you?
I only have an occasional bar of chocolate.
Do you?
Very occasional, yeah, very occasional.
You had one in that picture at the weekend, didn't you, with your horrible, hideous glass? Was there not some chocolate in that picture?
Box of Maltesers.
Box of Maltesers.
Yeah. Quite like box of Maltesers, I have to say.
Did you eat the whole box?
Yes, I did, actually, yeah. But that's a treat. That's a weekend sort of treat, you know what I mean? I don't do that during the week.
Did you have a bar of chocolate tonight?
No.
I thought I saw you eating one before the show.
It was a Boost.
Isn't that a bar of chocolate?
It's a sort of toffee bar type thing, you know what I mean?
Isn't it covered in chocolate?
There's a bit of chocolate in it, I must admit, but that's for energy reasons. What's your problem?
You just can't admit anything,
No. Right.
If I actually asked if your name was Mike Parry, I got a feeling you'd deny it.
No. Right, listen to this.
You've seen the time, by the way.
Yeah, there are 100,000 tonnes short of cocoa every year.
Really? It's Ask Porky tonight, of course.
It certainly is.
We'll be sending out some tweets and follow us on Twitter at the Two Mikes. Look out on Facebook as well for the Two Mikes, and you can go there and post your questions.
Yes.
Mr. Parry will very generously answer them in the spirit in which they are intended.
Absolutely.
Now, what do you got coming up later on? Are you going to busy yourself? Have you got on any other outlets between now and tonight?
Yeah. I'm very busy on everything. We had a dog story tonight, right?
We did. The reading dog.
The reading dog and that kind of stuff. I have just read a report, and I didn't know if this is a joke or not. Dogs are now being trained to fly aircraft.
What?
Dogs a dozen of the UK's smartest canines are being trained to master the control of a light aircraft.
Don't be ridiculous.
After a nationwide search to find candidates for the experiment.
Why haven't they got any other pilots?
Full details of the extraordinary venture.
So you'd like to get in a plane that's being piloted by a dog?
Honestly, I thought this was a joke, but it's absolutely happening. And it's happening in a TV show being presented by Jamie Theakston.
All right. We'll have to explore that one because we're out of time, unfortunately. Well, we'll keep that thought, and we'll talk about it coming up in the show later on tonight. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes.
Look at the light! Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the Two Mikes. These are not British penguins, after all. They're international penguins.
I don't think they can do anything in the middle of a presidential election.
But this is easy to stop penguins dying.
Well, you say
all
that.
you've got to do is blow up the iceberg.
No, well, maybe
it's not beyond the wit of man to blow up an iceberg.
Well, just melt it.
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
I'm not a commie.